excellent to each other. And party on, dudes. I'm back with another Legacy League, and we are going to be playing Phyrexian Dreadnought. This is a powerful card from Mirage, which came out like 25 years ago. It's a 12/12 for 1 mana that has trample. Pretty good. But it has a downside. You have to sacrifice 12 power worth of creatures when you cast it. Why would anybody sacrifice a whole bunch of different creatures just to have a single creature? I don't know what they were thinking when they designed this card, but the upshot is cards like Stifle stop that trigger. So you get to keep the 12/12. And cards like Dress Down remove the ability so that it doesn't trigger when it comes into play. We also have Nulldrifter, which is another card that synergizes with Dress Down and Stifle in that you can evoke it, draw 2 cards, and then if you Stifle or if you have Dress Down out, you get to keep it. And because the card draw is a cast trigger, Dress Down doesn't even see that, so you still get to draw the cards and you get to keep the creature. So it's a 4/4 flying, 4/4 flying Annihilator 1 for 3 mana. That's pretty ridiculous if you can pull it off. So this is an A-B combo deck. We have 6 A's in the Phyrexian Dreadnought, and we have 8 B's in 4 Dress Downs and 4 Stifles. Well, Stifle, it happens to be a very good card in general. So we'll be able to use it a lot to stifle fetch lands, to stifle other important triggers. And we've got, because we're going to be stifling fetch lands, we've also got the rest of the tempo squad. We have Wasteland and we have Daze, both in 4-ofs. So we are going to be tempoing the heck out of our opponents and trying to prevent them from being able to react to our game plan early on. We also have a couple other threats that can, kind of force them to move and make plays that are suboptimal, trying to stop us from Tamiyo ultimating, trying to stop Psychic Frog from connecting and snowballing the way it does. We also have a little bit of removal. We have all of our normal cantrips that help us sift through our deck, which is more important than normal because we are trying to find both an A and a B so that we can get these cards into play. One important thing, though, is because we're playing blue-black, and most StifleNought decks are blue-white because they want access to Doorkeeper Thrall, which also is kind of like a Dress Down on a creature. Because we have blue and black and we have Psychic Frog, we have the luxury of being able to throw away redundant AB pieces to buff our Psychic Frog. So this should synergize really well, and I'm very excited to get in a league with it. This sideboard is geared up to beat Eldrazi through Consign to Memory and Harbinger of the Sea. We are almost completely blue. We do splash black for Fatal Push and for Psychic Frog and for a few cards in the sideboard like Orcish Bowmaster. But we barely even need to play black mana as a result, and we're playing 2 islands and a swamp, and we're also playing a pretty low mana count of 18 with the assumption that we're probably going to be mulliganing most games anyway, trying to find our combo. So we can mulligan a little bit more aggressively and still have lands at 18. Normally, I would not go down to 18. You know me, I love to stay at 19 or above, or even 20 is my happy place. So against Swords to Plowshares type combo decks, we're just going to take out the Phyrexian Dreadnoughts and we're going to bring in cards like Orcish Bowmasters. These are great for punishing cantrips and just getting a little bit of card advantage against exile-based removal decks. We also have a little bit of a plan against Rescam. We've got 1 Nile Spellbomb, 1 Graph Digger's Cage, and 1 Surgical. We have a Null Rod. We have a Brazen Borrower main deck and a Brazen Borrower in the sideboard just to deal with decks that present a lot of powerful creatures. Like this is very good against Delver, for example. And then just in case we go against combo, we're already pretty favored against combo, but we do have a couple Force Negations in the sideboard as well. You know what? I don't really think we need the second one. I'm going to change this out for a Hydroblast because I think Hydroblast Painter is a problem in general in the format. It's a very strong Ascendant deck right now, and I want to have at least 1 spell against them, even though I don't need to worry about generally removing cards like Blood Moon because we're very well equipped to just play on basics. I think it will be good. And this also comes in against Delver, so I think this will be a good addition to the deck. We are really, really strong against combo. I would be surprised, or I'll be disappointed if we lose against combo, because I feel like just the stifles, dazes, wastelands, consign memory. We've got so much going on that I'm not too worried about. And of course, force of will. Don't leave home without them. So let's get to the games. I'm going to play a full league of 5 matches against whoever happens to be playing online. And hopefully we don't hit rescam, which is going to hopefully rotate out of the format when the ban announcement happens next week. And we just won't need to worry about it. But again, if we encounter it, I'm going to put up a fight. I'm going to try to bring in these sideboard cards and stop it from doing its combo plan. All right, I'll see you in round 1. All right, we're going into round 1. Playing against epinephrine, which I believe is some sort of compound in the brain. Epinephrine. Okay, so we won the die roll. Let's take a look at what they're likely playing. Okay, they are likely playing StifleNought themselves. They've been playing a lot of StifleNought lately. I think it's quite likely that they outthink me and outplay me, but I'm going to try my best. They are also on 18 lands. They are on the blue-white version, so they have Plow. They're on full 4 Nulldrifter. Okay, interesting. So I think that my deck is actually going to be faster than theirs a little bit, because they're hoping to Nulldrifter like mid to late game. All right, this hand doesn't present. I think we could, this is an Island Ponder hand. I think it's fine to keep this. They're not going to explode turn 1, and we can potentially find another land. And yeah, I'd love to play on basics here. If they don't know what we're on, they may not aggressively fetch, and we might get a chance to stifle one of their fetches. I think this is good. Wasteland seems good. Tamiyo is good with Brainstorm. So I think what I'll do, I want to definitely deploy Tamiyo next turn. So I'll put Brainstorm and then Tamiyo, and then I'll draw the Wasteland now. And we'll pass. And so I don't believe they're on Tamiyo. They're on the more traditional, just like kill you with creatures. Oh, they're not that. Okay, great. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to wait a turn or two, because I would love, they're on a low land count, and I would love to stop them from being able to fetch here. They may go for like a end step surveil land or something. Well, they wouldn't because of the wasteland. Yeah, I kind of spooked them on that. Okay, they have their own wasteland, which if they attempt to initiate like a wasteland fight, I'll be happy to oblige. Okay, so because they're not doing anything, we have the, we don't have to do anything here. I'm kind of thinking we ponder to see if we can find another land, and then we wait till next turn to try to Tamiyo. We are giving them a lot of time. I don't think this is what we're looking for, because they can go get a fetch, a basic here. Yeah, now they know that I'm like on 0 land, so I think now they're heavily incentivized to wasteland me. Just to stave off days if they think I'm on days. Because I'm playing Wasteland, I'm probably on days. That would not be an unreasonable thing to think. So I'll force them to fetch here, which is fine. And next turn, we're going to have to probably brainstorm into a land. So this is the flip side of playing 18 land and getting lots of gas. Is it's one less land to find. We've already fished 1 land out of our deck, so we've got 16 lands in 48 cards. So only slightly more than 1 in 3. Okay, and they already found their second wasteland, which shouldn't be an issue if we find a fetch. Nulldrifter. Okay, so I think I am going to attempt to brainstorm here, and I could very much be brainstorm locked, and that would be sad, but I'm going to try it. They may daze this. This is horrific. Okay, we've lost. I'm almost certain of it. So I'm going to just hope that some of this stuff resolves, but what I'll do is I'll wait till next turn. And you might be thinking, oh, well, why didn't you play at the Tamiyo? You could have gone that route. I'm going to discard something that doesn't completely give away the game as to what we're playing here. I think Brazen Borrower, we're pretty far from casting, and a lot of decks play it. It's not going to give away the game. Well, rather than force, I do think it's correct to go ahead and pitch something here. I mean, this would actually help me resolve the Dreadnought that's on top of my deck. So I think this is okay. I'm going to let it resolve, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to force whatever it is they cast, and then I'm going to try to resolve my own Dreadnought. I think I stacked it where Dreadnought is on top of the other card. And they may have like just like a plow or something for it, but I'm going to try. I got nothing else going on. They could have another daze. See what they have. They could have their own force. Wow, it's in. Okay, so now we cling to dear life. We cling on this, what is it? Cling for dear life onto our Dreadnought. We're going to ride the shrimp to victory, hopefully. That's fine. Again, the only thing that matters here is us stopping a removal spell. They may dig deeper. That's fine. We can't stifle, unfortunately. We're drawing Nulldrifter. We're drawing nothing, basically. We have to stop this and connect. They probably have lots of card selection. They may have counter magic. Even the weakest form of counter magic will stop us here. Okay, they are attacking, which is fine. So that makes me think they probably have like some removal spell. They did give me a mana to be able to pay for days, though. All right. This allows them to completely change the composition of their hand, but I'm going to let them do it. They're attacking. Oh, they're not attacking. Okay. Interesting. So maybe they don't have an answer to it. I'm going to pitch a Tamiyo. Let's see. Tamiyo might actually be relevant here. I'll pitch a Stifle. They already know that I'm going to be playing Stifle. They don't know that I'm going to be playing Tamiyo. So they wouldn't be doing this unless they had it covered some way. So I could brainstorm and potentially find a second force, but I think it's best to just pay for this, and then they probably have a second way to deal with this. I will get a card, though, even if they remove this, and I'll get a bunch of life. And currently, my Nulldrifter is just 2 mana away from being castable. So I'm going to pay for this. They still have 6 cards in hand, though. Yeah, here's the second plow, probably. Oh, interesting. The second daze. Yeah, that's fine. I can't pay for that. So I will gain 12 life. You are still alive. Can I draw a land? They burn off the mana. They're casting Dress Down here to draw a card. That's fine with me. All right. Can we get a land, please? No land. All right. We're just going to chill. I'm not giving up, but I am not hopeful. They do have to deploy their lands, but so I don't think we're going to get Nulldrifted immediately, but we could get Dreadnought here. They only had to use 1 plow as well, so they could have a second plow like somewhere in their stack. I'm going to attempt to brainstorm here. I wouldn't be surprised if they daze it. Okay, we got free from the lock. Here's what I think we do. I think we're still a ways from being able to cast these. I don't think we put them both back. I do like I'm going to go get an island. We're just going to play on blue the entire game. This could get stifled. That is a very real thing that could happen here. I'm going to attempt to do it, though. I will accept that. I'm not going to daze. There's no benefit to dazing here. Oh, I mean, we could daze and redeploy the Phyrexian Dreadnought, but I don't think that's a good use of our daze. I want to be able to protect. So we're going to draw at least 1 dead card here. We're actually going to draw 2 dead cards. We're going to draw the second Nulldrifter and the frog. I'm going to attempt to daze this just because the body represents death, and I'm going to do so before they get a chance to draw those 2 cards. Okay, they get the 2 cards. They're tapped out. They can attack. Next turn, I'm going to attempt to deploy a Dreadnought. They could very well have a daze, but I don't think it's worth waiting because we know we're going to have to wait a long time. I'm just hoping to get lucky and somehow scroll through their defenses. I could definitely, I think it's better to go ahead and do this now. And then if they have a counter, they have a counter. If they give me a ton of life, that gives me time. And next turn, I can brainstorm and hope to find yet another fetch. But I've been on my back foot this entire game. Yeah, they're going to brainstorm. There's a high likelihood that they find another plow. They've got 3 in their deck of 32 cards. They also may have Prismatic Ending. Let's take a look at their list. Doesn't look like they play main deck Prismatic Ending, but you better believe that's coming in from the sideboard. I am very much going to board in. I'll probably board out these, and I'll probably board in Orcish Bowmasters for games 2 and games 3. Okay, here comes something. Dress down in the end step. That's going to remove Stifle. Okay, this is good. This means that they don't have a way to remove it, and they're going to trade the Doorkeeper for it. Doorkeeper throw. Well, I'm trying to think if there's any reason. Okay, so there is a potential combination of cards. So if I brainstorm here, and I'm able to find a fetch, I don't have a Fatal Push. I'm definitely going to put that back. I think I'm still going to put this back. Play this out. I think I am going to go ahead and try to go now. They have another Stifle. Okay, well, I'm going to force that Stifle because I really do want this land, and I want to be able to deploy my Dreadnought here before they're... okay, yeah, I'll just do that. Let's see if they have a daze here. Okay, they have their own force. All right, that sucks. Yeah, we're not going to be able to deploy the Dreadnought here, so we're going to attack in. And does it make sense to attack in? They're just going to block. Maybe it doesn't make sense, because then next turn I can deploy yet another one. Yeah, I think I'm not going to... Oh, no. I didn't mean to attack. I hit OK to go to the next combat step. I didn't mean to attack here. It's not letting me undo the attack. Yeah, it's going to make me go forward with it. I clicked OK, and it decided to attack with that. That was a hotkey thing. Yeah. So now we don't have any... They're going to have a hard time winning just because anything they put... Well, no, if they have Stifle, they can stifle the Dreadnought, but they've used a lot of Stifle. Let's take a look. Is this a... Yeah, there's another Nulldrifter, and they may be able to stifle it. And if they stifle it, we're in trouble. Oh, it dies? Okay. And they have mana. They're pondering. They're trying to find a plow here. We have Tamiyo coming, but I'm not confident that's going to do anything. Oh, my goodness. Wow, what a game to start the league. What a game. Okay, so... I think against their deck, for sure, we're taking out our Dreadnoughts. There's no way that keeping those Dreadnoughts in is correct. I'm sorry. But it's a massive liability. They're going to be playing around it the entire time anyway. What I'm going to bring in is I'm going to bring these in. And I think we bring Borrower in. Borrower seems good. Yeah, I think that's... Let's see. That's 61 cards. On the draw, we could trim a daze. I think that's... No, I don't want to trim a daze. I think what I want to trim is a Dress Down. Because now, basically, we're going to keep our Nulldrifters in. Those are still good late game. Yeah, I'm hoping to win to surprise them with Bowmasters. Bowmasters is a really good threat, and it'll do a lot of damage while they're trying to assemble their AB if they don't have it right off the bat. That was super fun, super exciting game. I wouldn't be surprised if they're upset after what happened there because it was an upset victory. We don't have a way to deal with early resolution, but we do have counter magic and we do have stifles. I think we keep this and we hope to... What are we hoping to achieve here? Well, I mean, that is a land that we can stifle or waste. Oh, that is so good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this and I'm just going to wait. And even if they do resolve it, I'll have Fatal Push and I'll try to push around days. Okay, this is going to be like a crazy standoff. Okay. This represents black mana. I'm going to play it out. They have the luxury of not having to fetch. I do have to fetch to get my lands. Okay, so I can fetch and I can turn this off. The main problem is, should they have Nulldrifter as their card, we're in trouble. So I do think I daze this. So I'm going to go get a blue source. I'm going to get a black source. I'm going to float daze. I still have lots of ways of turning Fatal Push on if necessary. Okay, that was good. That's important that we stop that because that is a key enabler that like essentially allows them to 1-for-1 put those cards into play. Okay, they're fetching around my Stifle, which is smart. I'm just going to kind of sort my hand here. I've got a lot of lands in hand. But, I mean, after the last game, I'm not complaining. Okay. They're passing. I'm just going to play on basics the entire freaking time. I think I'm going to play this out, and I'm going to wait until next turn to attempt to deploy Tamiyo so I can protect her with Brainstorm. I'm not going to rush anything. They've already seen my island. Another Dress Down. I think we kind of have to let this resolve. The issue is, if they do have Nulldrifter, we're like totally screwed. I think I'm going to Brainstorm and try to find a force. I think it's that serious of a thing. Okay, we can put this back. Put this back. It's going to resolve. If it's just a Phyrexian Dreadnought, we can live. If it's more than that, we're in trouble. Okay, that's not the end of the world. Do they have another one? They have a second one. Do they have a third one? They don't. Okay, so we have to deal with these, unfortunately. Yeah, that's quite good. All right, so we're drawing a dead card here. I think what we do here is we ponder to see if we can find a second push. The other alternative is we Tamiyo. Tamiyo's never going to get a window where she can regrow things because we're going to have to pay 2 life. I think the first play is to play this out. They could stifle it. We know they have a waste on attack. Okay, I'm going to try this. I'm going to... okay, so I could ponder, and then I think it's correct to go ahead and fetch here and see if they have the stifle. They do have the stifle. Okay, I'm going to let that resolve. I'm going to go ahead and push 1 because this is the most important spell we're going to cast here. Okay, and then we could deploy the Tamiyo, and that will potentially flip, and we're going to be dead next turn. We could ponder and just try to set up. Pondering now gives us more looks and gives us some daze protection. I think it's right to ponder now and hope they don't have daze. Okay, we have Murderous Cut and Psychic Frog. This is basically the best possible stuff we could have. Okay, so we can cut next turn, and we've got plenty of cards in our graveyard, and yeah, we're just going to take 12. But they invested a lot of resources into getting these Phyrexian Dreadnoughts into play. They're down to 3 cards, 4 cards. I think we've got a chance here. Okay, ponder, potentially finding a force. All right, they're coming in for a crunch. We will take it. All right, let's draw. Psychic Frog's good. I don't think, I mean, it's more important, obviously, the Murderous Cut resolve than anything. What I could do is I could Murderous Cut, and then if that doesn't resolve, I'm dead. Yeah, I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But I will play the mana out just in case I need it here. Boom. And then we're just going to go ahead and exile 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 4. Yeah. You have the force. Okay. And now I'm just going to... I could play a Tamiyo, and then I'd have... Stifle up, and then I could play Psychic Frog next turn because I don't want Psychic Frog to get countered. Psychic Frog is a way that I can pull back into the game. If they attempt to wasteland my Underground Sea, I'm not sure why they're doing it now. Maybe just to bait me so I'm like completely defenseless here. Maybe they really want to resolve this. They did ponder. They don't want to draw a dead card is what I'm reading here. I think this is okay because next turn I've got Wasteland Protection. Okay, and now I'm going to stifle that to keep them from getting first cards. Yeah, because they I don't think they shuffled their Ponder, right? Ponder. Oh, they did shuffle their Ponder. That was a futile exercise. Okay, well maybe this is denying them mana is helpful if they have a Nulldrifter in hand. This does deny them the out of just like drawing and slamming Nulldrifter. We could even put them down to 1 land here if we needed to. Yeah, and that's precisely why I boarded out the Phyrexian Dreadnoughts here, because it's just like a 1-for-1, very clean answer, and I'm not going to be wasting them now they have so much mana. All right, I think it makes more sense to deploy the blue-black land And I'm just going to try to Psychic Frog here. Let's tap this for blue, Psychic Frog. We don't have a lot going on here, but neither do they. If we happen to draw a Nulldrifter, we do have Dress Down for it. Almost all their removal is exile based, so I don't think we're going to get in a situation where we're going to be able to save Psychic Frog. I'm going to go ahead and attack here. I'm trying to think of what they do have that one card, but they wouldn't flash it in and try to block. That would be silly. Okay, so I'll draw a card here. I'm feeling favored if this keeps connecting. I could have definitely pumped more into it. Consign a memory on the trigger. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to stop that. Okay, and I am going to deploy... Did I already deploy a land? I'm going to try to cut them off a land. I think it's worth it. I don't really need the mana as much as they do. I've got both my basic colors. If I draw one more wasteland, I'll have more stuff I can do. They might do some end step thing. Okay, they floated the blue. Yeah, I should have done that during their upkeep. That was bad because they could. Well, now they can't do end step dress down actually. So maybe it was good to do it when I did. I would have been really embarrassed if they just dressed down end step and then played Nulldrifter. Okay, the wasteland is fine. Please waste me. I don't care about my lands at all. All right, they're not going to waste me yet. I would love to draw another frog here. That is a totally reasonable play here. I'll draw. I'm going to, I guess, float a blue. It doesn't matter. If we have to play game 3, I am down on clock. Yes. Okay, that daze does not help a whole lot. I'm just going to play this out so I don't get dazed on the way back down. We have a daze, which may be helpful. We could definitely stop a Brazen Borrower. Okay, I'm feeling pretty good. I hope I'm not being overconfident. They're much more familiar with playing probably the mirror. I've never played the mirror before. Wow, that was it. They conceded. We beat the seasoned player of this deck. I mean, granted, the blue-white version. Game 1, 2-0, very decisively. So I'm feeling lucky. Let's keep it rolling. Round 2 coming up. Welcome back for round 2. We have a hand that we are definitely throwing back. We're on the draw. We're against Ballastin 93. I just want to do a quick comment about the previous round. My opponent used Prismatic Ending to remove my Tamiyo. Had I led with Psychic Frog or had I not had a Tamiyo, they would have used the Prismatic Ending on the Psychic Frog, and the Psychic Frog was the key card in that match or that final game. So yeah, there's something to be said for overloading their threat, overloading their removal with threats. And I feel like, having Tamiyo in the deck, even though she's a pretty passive plan, like definitely she commands enough respect that she can draw counter magic away. So she acts as a lightning rod for Psychic Frog. All right, let's get into this game. All right, this opponent does not have a single legacy finish since back when Dreadhorde Arcanist was legal. So I think we just go ahead and just hope that they're not a Wasteland deck. And I'm going to keep this. Hope that they're not a Stifle deck. I can always fetch a 1-drop. All right, I'm going to put back a Dress Down, which is redundant. And yeah, I think our plan is see what they're up to. Find a second land. Somehow we'll just have to kind of naturally draw it. And then eventually get Dress Down into Phyrexian Dreadnought. So we're basically on defense until we can find our second land. There's no proactive plan here. But I still think this is... Okay, there we go. I mean, we could just fetch a swamp and confuse them. I think I'm going to play the island out. The upside of being able to daze is higher. I do want to be able to get a basic swamp, though, for sure. All right, our opponent has allowed me to pass priority, and we're going into the end step. Prismatic Vista. Okay, so my thinking is they're on some form of Jeskai control, which is bad news for us because they're probably going to be able to deal with our Phyrexian Dreadnought pretty easily. Because generally the only decks that play this combination of cards, usually decks that... so we do have an option. We could Stifle if they fetch here and hope that we can keep them off white. And then the subsequent turn, we can Dress Down Phyrexian Dreadnought. I kind of like doing that. Okay, Volk. I definitely have Jeskai vibes here. So I'm not gonna waste time. I am gonna go ahead and dress down here and hope that my force can stop their counter magic. Dress down. Does it resolve? I will not fight over it if it doesn't resolve. Okay, it does resolve though. This is great for us because we immediately replace it. This Fatal Push is probably a dead card. I am going to go ahead and deploy the Dreadnought. And then I will be able to stifle if they go get white mana for removal. This is totally fine. I'm going to let this happen. And I'm going to try to brainstorm lock them. Not brainstorm lock them, but prevent them from being able to shuffle those cards away by stifling here. Okay. Looks like they're forcing. Okay, so here is the trick. I am not going to force this back. I totally could. I think what we do is we deploy a Psychic Frog next turn. And, well, let's say hypothetically we do fight back. We're not going to be able to... I mean, they wouldn't be forcing if they had another option. I think we do force here. I think Daze is the pitch. Daze is the weakest card here. I'm more concerned with color screwing them than I am with stopping them. Okay. Spell Pierce. I can't do anything about that. Okay, so it resolves. I'm not going to pay for Spell Pierce. Okay, they successfully stopped that. There are 3 cards. I'm at 4. I'm going to pass. And then should they crack this, I will 100% stifle it because I do not want them to be able to get white mana. And I do suspect they're playing white mana. I'll be amazed if they're not playing white mana. Ponder's fine. They should know that I'm playing Stifle. Okay, they got white mana anyway. So there's no longer really any reason to keep the Stifle up. Okay, that's a good draw. This allows me to keep the Stifle up while also pondering. I'm going to go ahead and ponder now because I do want to find, like, if I can find a force to protect this Psychic Frog. I can't. However, these are both excellent cards. I don't need the Stifle, but I think Psychic Frog, I'm going to play it and then I can play another one. There's always a risk that they have like a sweeper, but I'm going to just be disciplined and play one at a time. Next turn, I can potentially play out a Psychic Frog and a Tamiyo. Yeah, they're going to fetch now. If they were waiting for me to tap out because they suspected I had Stifled, it was very smart of them. Brain Surge. All right. Yep, definitely Jeskai control. That definitely makes me regret pitching my force instead of pitching the Stifle. And I think going forward, that will be the pitch. Okay, so they were able to go up a card. They're now at 4 cards to my 3 in hand. They've got 4 lands, 5 lands to my 3. I think they're very favored here, but we're going to keep sticking cards and keep stressing their removal. But I wouldn't be surprised if they are able to remove this here. Supreme Verdict. Wrath of the Skies. All right. Yep. It's going to be tough. This deck is really hard to kill. I think like Delver type strategies just completely own it. But our deck, which is not quite as explosive, it's going to be a little harder. I'm trying to think. I think playing Tamiyo now is fine, and that might draw a removal, and we can also keep up Psychic Frog. I have no illusion that Fatal Push is going to be live. We might be able to get some clues off of this. Keep in mind that Wrath of the Skies does... Oh, they have their own Tamiyo. Okay. If they attempt to brainstorm or do anything, I will just have my Fatal Push up for this. All right. I'm going to go to my turn. I'm not going to deploy a Psychic Frog anyway. Oh, they have a removal spell. Well, I'm going to go to combat. If you're going to remove it, remove it. Okay, I get a trigger. So they're holding their removal. I'm confident they have a plow because they tapped the planes then untapped it real quick. Yeah, I'll just pass. All right. These Stifles are embarrassing right now. They're not doing anything. I think we do push. They may be able to flip it. I'm not as worried about them flipping it. I'm more worried about... Here it goes. Yep. But, I mean, we did deny them a clue, so it's not the end of the world. Next turn, we will be able to flip our Tamiyo if we want. I might do a league with their deck, but I generally don't like Jeskai because it's just so passive and kind of boring. Like, it's really good, don't get me wrong, and it'll be way better once Rescam's out of the format. But yeah, there's this Triumph or fourth. Yeah, that's the fourth. All right, so what I think we do here is I think we probably stifle the trigger that gives them. Yep. I think we probably stifle the trigger that gives them the ability, because I don't want them to draw more cards. So we'll take this 4. If they force here, I've got another stifle. All right, so they don't have the Monarch, which is good. All right. So, okay, now we can flip Tamiyo if we want and dramatically reduce the impact of these 2/2 creatures. I'll just attack. I'm going to create the token. They do have Plowman up, and we suspected earlier that they had Plow, so they may Plow. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create one, or crack one first. That's a daze. Actually, that does solve our problem of them having Plow here. I'm going to crack the second one, and they may attempt to Plow here, and I can just daze it. I'll return this to hand. All right. So we have a Tamiyo. We have a Dress Down. That's quite good. Okay. I'm going to plus her real quick. Play this out. I now have a Stifle. Oh, did I already play a land? Yeah, I already played a land for the turn, so I don't have anything. All right. Just to hope that, I mean, they'll be able to gradually chip it away at her, but they're going to do nothing but attack her. Their Tamiyo is ticking up, but we do have a Stifle to stop the ultimate. Okay, they're returning this. There's nothing we can do about this, actually. This is really, really bad for us. They are going to be able to do a lot of damage here. I'm not sure that we have a path out of this because they're going to be able to put a lot of these into play. I'm actually surprised they didn't go for the extra one because it would be unlikely that I had a second Stifle. Or a second. Yeah. So I can assume Tamiyo's dead here. And I don't think there's any hope. Because they're able to do so much damage that even if I don't want to give away that I'm StifleNought. They may not know that. Oh, wait. They already saw the Phyrexian Dreadnought. Anyway, I'll see what I would have drawn here. Draw a card. Draw a card. Let's just see what I would have drawn. Maybe that was premature. I don't think that was premature. Yeah, nothing good coming. I don't know how we deal with that. The way we deal with that is we end the game faster. We played pretty carefully, and that may have hurt us there. So cards that are good here. Orcish Bowmasters. Force of Negation is quite good. Hydroblast could come in handy here. Harbinger is not good in this matchup because they have so many basics, and they're going to be inclined to fetch those anyway. Cards that don't matter, Fatal Push. I'm going to take out... So whereas the previous matchup, I was taking out my Phyrexian Dreadnoughts, here I'm taking out Fatal Push. I don't know that they play a single creature. A lot of old school players, like, they just don't like creatures for some reason. I mean, creatures are the best. Like, I love playing with creatures. But, yeah, some people just, like, they think it's fun to play a deck without creatures. Granted, Tamiyo is technically a creature, but I mean, we could keep removal in just out of respect for her. I don't think we do that, though, because I think we're the faster of the Tamiyo decks. I think taking Daze out is totally defensible here. I like... we want Stifle. Yeah, I'm going to do it like this. So we've increased our threat density, and we're going to hope to get them to 0, get them to dead before they can start doing late game Fourth Aerolingus and stuff like that. I mean, it's not a bad hand. It's got plenty of action. I think we keep it and we hope for Brainstorm to get us there. Yeah, and I'm just going to play out the island. Maybe I'll play out the island and I'm going to wait, of course. You always want to wait until turn 2 to Brainstorm. There's never a reason to Brainstorm turn 1 if you're playing unless you're like absolutely desperate to find a force against a combo deck. It's fine. Because you want to see as many cards as possible to potentially find a fetch land so that you don't get Brainstorm locked. Right now, there aren't really any cards that we'd put back. We might put back a Stifle. Okay, I am going to Brainstorm here because I do want to make my land drop. Don't do it. Don't do it. All right, thank goodness. Okay, so I think a Stifle is an easy one to put back. I think I'll actually hold on to the Force of Will just because it does curb their more brutal tendencies. Dress Down is a great card to like kind of like force them to have to respect me. As weird as that may sound, like they kind of have to respect Dress Down because you don't know what's coming out the other side of that Dress Down, right? Okay, so I'm going to go to my upkeep. I'm not playing the Surveillant. I decided to cut that just because my deck is so aggressive. And I'm going to go get a Swamp, and then we'll take a natural draw. We've got both our colors. Psychic Frog. I think I'm going to jam Psychic Frog. I've got removal, or I've got counter magic. They're probably not playing Daze. I will force I will force defend it. I'll even double force to defend it. The only argument for not going Psychic Frog there was that I could potentially stifle them off getting a white source, but I think with double force, we're inclined to just go all in on this frog. Okay, they're going to fetch. And they're not going to fetch. They like what they saw. Terminus. Okay. Yeah, this would be like a situation where I could absolutely punish that. But instead, I'm just going to hope that they don't have a Spell Pierce. Because if they have a Spell Pierce, that is very bad for me. Okay, so I have to wait for them to cast it. And then when they cast it, I can counter it. I believe that's how it works. Okay, so we are going to pitch... I think we pitch Brazen Borrower. There's not a lot that hits. I mean, it could reset a Tamiyo. I wouldn't be surprised if they interact with this somehow, but I will force a second time. Okay, they didn't. Okay, they do have another white source. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a plow here. I'm going to force the plow. And I will pitch... I'll pitch a Stifle at this point. I think that has the most... like, Dress Down at least replaces itself, and it, scares them a little bit. Yeah, they had force as well. So they're going to go down to 3 cards, but they did kill my frog. Okay, and they have a Ponder. Their deck, I've had my opponents describe it as a bag of tricks whenever I'm playing this. Like, sooner or later, your bag of tricks will run out. But now they're 1 turn away from getting Mystic Sanctuary, which can put Terminus back on top. Very powerful. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end step Dress Down and kind of like scare them a little bit. If they put Brainstorm on the trigger, Brainstorm on the stack with a Tamiyo out, I can also Dress Down. Okay, so let's see what they do here. Oh, no. I meant to cast this, please. Okay, good. It's good that it has like that little warning because I would have just totally like walked right through that. Okay, it looks like they're brain surging here, which is fine. I hope they find a force, and they force. Even if they Spell Pierce this, they were going to Spell Pierce something. Yeah, this Brain Surge deck is definitely powerful, and it is kind of irritating to play against. Yeah, it looks like they're getting the Spell Pierce here. Or the Pyroblast. Either one. It's a card out of their hand. I just wish this were able to resolve so I could get the card from it. Okay. So we do have Nulldrifter. Another one. I think next turn, I'm not going to be hasty. I'm just going to wait till next turn. And I'm going to attempt to Dress Down again. And then at any point if we draw a Nulldrifter, we're sitting pretty. We can Dress Down to remove the haste from a 4th Aerolingus token, which we may be doing right now. That's fine. I'm going to go ahead and do this now so they can't attack. Do they have a force? Are they going to force here? Oh, okay, great. Congratulations on your textless 2/2s. They will be able to get it back. I'm not trying to act conceited or anything. But the good news is they couldn't attack us. They couldn't get the Monarchy. I think it's worth brainstorming here. They do have pressure. These cards are terrible. This is going to go back. I think this goes back. They certainly have like a basic swamp in their deck. Or I'm sorry, a basic mountain. So yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And I'll put this out. And I will pass. And then we have end step Dress Down. And if they attempt to fetch with the Prismatic Vista, maybe we go ahead and stifle that. I mean, it's not a like strong play. Yeah, we're going to take 4 here. Counterbalance is a pretty scary card. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can really do about it. I'm just going to hope that their top card is not a 2-drop. That's fine. Now they can reconfigure their deck to however they want. But they have tapped out a Brainstorm. Okay, and I do have Stifle if I need it. Okay, well, now they have a second fetch. So what they're probably going to do is, based on what I do here, they can... I think it makes sense to go ahead and get an Underground Sea now. I definitely want to shuffle, and I don't want them to do anything to screw me up. All right, if this gets blocked, we probably just lost. Choose not to use it. Okay, interesting. So we're going to draw Psychic Frog. Okay, so I presume they don't have a 2 on top. That's what this is telling me. All right. They don't readily have a way to get Terminus. I think I'm just going... So they could have a 1 on top. There's only one way to know. Dreadnought. Okay, they have a 1 on top. So now I'm just going to go with Psychic Frog here. They'll have to figure out a different way to counter that. What do they reveal? They reveal Tamiyo. Yeah, it's kind of scary. Yeah, and I think what I'll do here, the Stifle's probably not going to do anything. So what I'll probably do just to, potentially like slow things down, slow the roll, is I probably will pitch a Stifle to Frog to be able to block that. I'm going to go ahead and block here. Okay, and now I should get a chance to discard. Okay. And if they have like some sort of like removal spell or something, they can use it for profit here, and I'll just concede. I'm going to concede. There's no drawing out of this. They have too much pressure. Counterbalance is card advantage. Yeah, that was a decisive beating. That's definitely a weakness of this version, whereas I think the white version is probably better disposed to be able to play against. But I think StifleNought in general is a deck that's extremely weak to white decks because of the exile-based removal. It's very strong against like Delver and like decks that, now that everybody's playing 4 Fatal Pushes in their black decks, it may not be that strong against those. Yeah, it may not be favored right now. It felt like it was favored for a while there. When Modern Horizons 3 just came out, because I would get in the leagues and I'd 4-1 like leagues back to back with basically this exact deck that I'm playing now. Yeah, we'll see what happens in round 2, but I don't think we made any obvious play errors. I think the hand we kept was fine. We managed to find land and everything. We just weren't able to kill them fast enough, and there was that situation where had we been able to stifle the miracle trigger on the Terminus, we might have been able to connect and draw some cards. But, if things were different, they wouldn't be the same. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, right? All right, we are back for round 3 against a very, very, very seasoned Delver player. They've been playing Delver for like 5 years, according to their MTGO history, and they seem to be on the rug version. So we have a couple options. One, we could keep this, which it doesn't have the combo. It doesn't have a basic land. It does have double days, but I don't think that's good enough. I think we want to mulligan and find something more aggressive. One thing to note is the rug version doesn't have a good way. Oh, this is a basic land. Okay, good. Let me double check. They don't seem to be playing Stifle. Granted, they could be on a different deck, but this is what they were playing most recently. I think we keep this. We put back Nulldrifter. Nulldrifter is great, but it is like a later game thing. And if they happen to be on rescan for some reason, we just dodged like a serious bullet, because one of the fastest ways to lose against rescam is to have them grief one of your powerful creatures and then reanimate it. And we would not be able to survive Annihilator 1 each turn. This hand is good. It does have the StifleNought combo. It does have some disruption. What I'm planning to do is, if we can stifle their initial... No, we don't want to do that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a daze. I'm going to go get Island, and I'm going to try to find a daze. Because if we have a daze or another land, or we can take both, sure. So this is great because we can take the daze now in case they do something really scary. And next turn we can get our swamp, and we can do the Dreadnought combo with daze protection. But only if they tap out. And I don't anticipate them having a way. They're playing like one Brazen Borrower, according to their list on MTG Goldfish. So aside from Brazen Borrower, I don't think they'll have any way of dealing with this. Oh, nope. They're on Grixis. Okay. They can break up our combo. This could mean they're on Death Shadow. This could mean they're on a lot of things, but I think I do want to see if I can at least get them to have to daze their land back. They might think I'm a combo decker. Like, I'm not sure what they're going to think. Why would they stop the Thoughtseize? It's definitely got to get their spider sense tingling, though. But the reality is we just don't want them to take... Since we clearly have two ways to enable the Phyrexian Dreadnought, they'll probably take the Dreadnought. Okay, and I'm just going to play this out, and I will happily stifle a fetch land if they play a fetch land, because I suspect they could just be on a straight up Death Shadow. If they're on Death Shadow, they're probably playing Fatal Pushes, which makes our Dreadnought play less explosive. Okay, now I'm thinking Nethergoyf. That's fine. They can look at my top card and they can see that it is I think it's a fetch. Nethergoyf's fine. Yes, we got, is it a fetch? Or did we already see all our cards? I'm just trying to think. We'll see what they saw in a second. Okay. The important thing is they're not fetching into our Stifle. This is fine. They're going to get a card. It might have been another Dress Down. I'm tempted to stop this, but I'm not going to. My reasoning that we want all the Stifles we can get. And what I'm going to do is next end step, I'm going to Dress Down, and hopefully that will bait them. If you can hear my kids playing piano in the background, it's that time of the day where they're practicing the piano. So my thinking is I'm going to hopefully be able to Dress Down end step, and that'll bait a daze. I mean, it's not really baiting a daze, but like it's getting the daze out of the way so we can potentially Phyrexian Dreadnought Stifle. They could have two dazes. They could have a force. There's a lot of things they could have here. All I know is I'm going to definitely take this crack of like 3 here. Oh, they put a wasteland in the graveyard. All right, we'll take it. I'll be impressed if they're playing Stifle in their deck, but they could be. They're thinking like they have Stifle in their deck. Okay, I'm just going to get my swamp. No reason to expose ourselves to any unwanted wastelands. I'm going to Dress Down. This will immediately tell them what we're playing, because end step Dress Down is only something that these types of decks do. Oh, that's fine. I'm not going to pay for it. And I'm just going to hope that that's their only counter magic. But I think realistically, they are likely to have more counter magic. So we do have an option. We could go ahead and try to Dreadnought, but then we run the risk of them potentially dazing, and they probably have a Fatal Push. If they don't have a Fatal Push, we're favored, but I think things are going to go downhill very quickly if we don't get the Dreadnought out. Trying to convince myself not to do it. Also, it's worth noting that the more Nethergoyf attacks us, the less reliable the Dreadnought plan gets. So I'm gonna go ahead and Dreadnought now, and I'm gonna attempt to stifle it, and we'll see if they force or if they daze. I don't get the feeling we can afford to wait around. And this is a force. Okay, so they 2 for 2'd. Our Dreadnought dies, and we're gonna hope to. I'm not really sure what we're holding on hope for. Drawing another Dreadnought will give us a second chance to do it, but the fact that they forced means they probably don't have Fatal Push in hand, which is kind of heartening. I was expecting it to be a 1 for 2 for us, but in fact it was a 2 for 2, so that is a blessing. Okay, Nethergoyf committed to the fray, so we're taking 4, and next turn we're basically dead, especially if they're able to like bin. They've got sorcery, artifact, land, instant. They don't have any creatures, but if they can get a creature in the graveyard, super duper bad for us. If we can get a Dreadnought out now, they may quit attacking, but it's not going to be a kill. Okay, I'm going to go for it. This is the play. There is no other play in my opinion. This way, at least they're going to lose another Nethergoyf if they try to kill us. We need to attack them twice They may not be able to attack here, but they might draw a Fatal Push or a cantrip into a Fatal Push. Looks like they're cantripping here. All they need to do is clear the way with like a Brazen Borrower or a Fatal Push, and we're dead. If they don't, what I can do is I can potentially Brazen Borrower one of those back to their hand. Yep, we can't do anything about that. I'm pretty sure we lost this game, but I'm going to keep playing it out just to see what we get. I can't imagine us getting anything that would matter. Like even back-to-back Fatal Pushes wouldn't save us. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and concede. We're dead on board. I mean, technically we could borrow and then we could play out the Tamiyo, but that's showing a lot of our deck for no real reason. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the next game. All right, sideboarding. I don't think we need to bring in Bowmasters here. It's probably not going to kill very much of their deck, but Murderous Cut is good. Brazen Borrower, they're not going to be doing reanimation, I don't think. I think they're on the pure tempo plan. So I think we just cut some of our forces. In fact, we might cut all of our forces, but force does help us force the combo through. Bowmasters can be an unexpected way to like steal a victory, but I think it's pretty weak. I think Brazen Borrower is probably better than second force. So we're going to squeeze their mana. We're going to try to prevent them from being able to fetch. And we're going to try to remove their threats. We've got lots of removal now. Very, very light sideboarding. Just removing 2 forces and exchanging them for 2 removal spells, but hopefully it works. There is one more consideration, which would be like bringing in an Out Spellbomb. I think it's pretty weak. Yeah, it's not letting me. Okay. I was going to say we could bring that in just to deal with Netherglyphs, and we might do that if there's a round 3. This seems like a really solid keep. We've got a turn. No, we don't. We do have Psychic Frog. I'm not throwing this back. I'm keeping this. I'm keeping it on the grounds that Psychic Frog, if we can defend it, will be really good here. I'll open with this. I mean, there's definitely an argument to be made that if we brainstorm next turn, we can shuffle away bad cards. That's a little more passive. They are fetching, which we can't punish. If we were playing like just a straight, value tempo deck like they're playing, we would have a lot of options here. I think Tamiyo's fine. I don't want to... I mean, Tamiyo might be bad for us, but at the same time, we might be able to end the game before she matters, really. So I'm going to go ahead and take a draw first. Okay, Ponder. So what we could do is we could take a turn off to Sculpt. We could Brainstorm. We shuffle some of these away. We could even potentially Ponder. We don't need 2 Phyrexian Dreadnoughts. If we get even 1 into play, we'll just defend it with everything we've got. All right, let's see what we get here. We don't need this because we can fetch this. I kind of like that. Yeah, and then we have the ability to... I can't remember how I stacked those, like which one's on top. But I will say that Phyrexian Dreadnought... Yeah, so we put the Swamp back, then we put the Dreadnought back. I mean, if we just draw the Swamp, then we can... No, we can't do the next turn. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold and I'm going to reserve the right to Stifle. I don't think they're playing Stifle. Okay, they're going to attack here. All right, they've got a clue. That's fine. Do I want to stop this trigger? I don't think I need to. Yeah, I'm just going to let it happen. I'd much rather stifle a fetch or a wasteland. I will definitely stifle that if they give me the chance. So I'm going to go ahead and get a second Underground Sea. I'm not going to play on basics here because I do need like all these colors, and I'm just going to attempt to stifle this. And then I have days if they try to force it through. I'd rather not do that though because I do want to be able to defend. We'll see what we draw. If we draw a land, I could dress down. I think it's fine to dress down into Dreadnought here. I think that's a stronger, more forward play than... yeah, I think that's a more forward play than... Sorry, I'm struggling to finish my thoughts. Than playing out a Psychic Frog. They may not have a black source, And Phyrexian Dreadnought may be able to go all the way. Phyrexian Dreadnought, by the way, will be attacking them. This is a good feeling. I will take that back. Do you have a second force? If you have a second force, you should save it for the Dreadnought itself. Okay, we get a card. No, they shouldn't necessarily save it for... yeah, we get a land. That's fine. I'll just play this out. And if they can kill it, they can kill it. We did get a 2-for-1 there. I imagine they're considering using a force here if they have one. Okay, and they may just have like... they may be able to like regrow a brainstorm and brainstorm aggressively to find a land. They have a lot of options here. I'm going to have to hit them twice. Okay, Ponder's a good start for them. Not that I'm rooting for them or anything, but I'm just thinking, like, how do they get out of this? I'm trying to put myself on their side of the table. Okay, they've got 5 cards in hand. Surely they found a land there. They shuffled. They may not have found a land. Okay, they're regrowing the force. That is a very weak play. All right. This 100%. Oh, wow. That's so good. Okay, well, they're not going to like what I have coming. I think I'm going to start by attacking here. We've got Daze Protection. I'll just attack them. I don't care about this Tamiyo. She's going to be able to debuff me by 1 next turn, but that's it. I think we do go ahead and ponder because I want to be able to find more counter magic. I mean, we have a second dress down into Phyrexian Dreadnought, which is not the end, not the worst. Yeah, I think that's what we do. So we'll take this dress down, and worst case scenario, if they somehow are able to get rid of this one through days, we just end step dress down again, and then the next turn we can stick another one. I like that better than frogging. Okay, there's removal. Okay, they're pumping, or they're uptaking Tamiyo. Not a surprise. I think it's highly likely they have some sort of removal in their hand. It's just a question of whether it's 1 mana or 2 mana removal. All right, now the question becomes, are we cool with dress downing again? We'll lose trample ability, but we will be able to force this through. I think we have to let it resolve, knowing what we do know about their hand. They're likely here to force my end step dress down. That's so good for us. Now they can't force it. I mean, they can force it, but we have days. Blue. Dress down. This is such an interesting game. Like, even if I lose, you're going to have to force if you want to stop this. Do you have a force of will? You want to throw at this? Unburden your hand. Unburden yourself. Okay. They can definitely force the Dreadnought, but we did get a draw off that. Okay, and I'm going to start by playing this out. I'm going to play the Dreadnought. Okay, and I am going to go ahead and play this out too. Because it's just, we want to overload their removal. They're pretty close to death. So now they have to, I mean, they definitely have to remove the Phyrexian Dreadnought if they're able to remove anything. And then we're like 2 swings away from killing them with Psychic Frog. And then we have our own Tamiyo waiting in the wings. They may -3 to go get their Fatal Push back. Yeah, I mean, they may be able to get out of this through having Tamiyo. Maybe it was a mistake to not attack Tamiyo that one turn. Okay, yeah, they're getting Fatal Pushback. We have nothing going on if they get rid of the Psychic Frog. Okay. Looks like Psychic Frog might be able to get loose here. That's a good card to have for later. I'm not convinced that discarding is correct here. We can use this mana to draw off Tamiyo. It doesn't shorten the clock enough, in my opinion. That is pretty good. I like that. I'm not going to cast it, though. I'm just going to cast a Tamiyo, and I'll pass and maximize the likelihood of drawing another Dress Down or another Stifle. Nethergorf's fine. Another Nethergorf is also fine. I think I'm going to go ahead and push instep. They didn't use the force they pulled back. They still have a force. I wonder what it's going to take to get them to use that force. Okay, so what I can do here, I'm going to attack with both. I'm going to go ahead and give it flight. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I'm just going to attack with both. So this is going to immediately give us a clue token. I think I can go and crack this and just see what I draw. Okay, borrower, not really what we need. We could do 4 damage here. I think I am going to do 1 extra damage because I definitely don't need that second Tamiyo. This Tamiyo will flip, and then I can borrow that back to hand so it can't kill my Tamiyo, assuming they don't have a daze. Okay, we get to draw a card. If they have some sort of like, okay, they're not interacting with her. I'm going to plus her. And I think now is the time that I'm going to attempt to borrow this back just so I don't have to deal with it next turn. But they may force this. We know they have a force in hand. They may not have a blue card to go with it. They could have a daze in hand. I just want to protect Tamiyo because Tamiyo can negative and go get other cards. That daze is a card that they can cast, and it does kind of wreck my day here. But they're going to need one more type to be able to kill Tamiyo here. And they're still going to need to deal with Psychic Frog. So they've got a lot on their table that they have to deal with. Cracking a clue, which seems like a desperation play when they don't necessarily have Fatal Push mana. Okay, they may have Fatal Push mana now. Thoughtseize does put the 5th type in their graveyard and does allow them to kill Tamiyo here. But it's, yeah, like my Psychic Frog is going to kill them unless... I can't think of a single card they could have here. But they get to see my Nulldrifter. I think they're going to concede here. Okay. Yeah. All right. Interesting game. I feel like I was on the play, so it's a tempo mirror, and I think I should win this. But the fact that it was as hard as it was is a testament to my opponent's skill, I think. I probably did miss time and missequence a few things there. Now Spellbomb, I think is good enough to come in just because it potentially like does combat tricks with Nulldrifter. And I think we could take out a force. It just feels really bad against them. I like the dazes. If we bring in Bowmasters, let's say we bring in Bowmasters here and we're on the draw. We take out a daze. Take out another daze. Take out a force. Just overload them with things that they need to worry about. That seems like a viable strategy. At the same time, Nulldrifter felt really bad in this matchup. I feel like it's more of a control matchup card. So maybe what we do is we take these out and we bring in the daze. Both dazes. Yeah, I mean, I think that that's defensible on the draw. They might think we're taking dazes out, but we're actually just keeping them. Because they have 2 lands, but they do have stuff that they're doing a lot of stuff with mana. Yeah, I don't like Force of Will in this matchup, even on the draw. This seems like a pretty good keep. We've got lots of mana. We got our basics. So we can't be disrupted. They can disrupt us. We don't have any positive forward like pressure, but we're kind of invalidating their tempo plan. We do have Wasteland if they don't have a basic. If they just turn 1 Underground Sea, Ponder, no, they're going to get basics. I'm almost certain of that. It's actually really reckless for them to not crack that basic there. I think I'm going to play this out and maybe scare them a little bit. But as soon as they crack this, they're going to know that I don't have the Stifle. I would love for them to just get into lane go with me. Okay, they can fetch. I don't want to daze anything unless I absolutely have to. I'll daze the Psychic Frog. Psychic Frog just represents too much forward momentum. I need to fill up my graveyard anyway so I can start Murderous Cutting. They may force to protect here. All right, that's 2 for 1. But this is on the table, and it is going to start giving me a headache. So we could brainstorm, and I could get... the thing is, I don't like these wastelands. I'm going to have to redraw one, but I need to get to Murderous Cut. I am going to brainstorm here. Okay, this feels good. I'm going to put this back. Wait, I'd rather draw a wasteland than a fetch here. So I'll draw that wasteland, and then I'm going to fetch. And we're just going to chill because we don't have enough mana to Murderous Cut. Not yet. I will stifle a fetch just knowing that I've got these wastelands waiting in the wing because once I cut this, I'm going to need to have a game plan. They did go down on cards. The more all in they go on this Psychic Frog, the happier I'm going to feel. But it doesn't look like they're going in at all. Okay, they get their card. We don't have a Surveil land, which kind of sucks because we really do want to be able to Surveil here. I'll fetch now. We got Underground Sea. They don't have any other lands. Fatal Push. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this out. I am going to attempt a Fatal Push here with Daze Protection. I just need to get this off the table. Forcing to protect. Okay. That sucks. I'm going to waste them. And then next turn, I'm going to play out a land and I'm going to Fatal Push. If they do something here with the mana, I'll be sad that I didn't wait till upkeep because I'm an impatient bastard. Okay, yeah, they didn't do anything with it. All right. I need to get better about just passing to upkeep. I know that's correct to do, but yeah, that was a misplay. Okay, so they're going to be able to attack, get another card. So they've basically undone those 2 Force of Wills in terms of card disadvantage. So I am going to need to Murderous Cut them this turn. Okay, that's great. Please do it some more. Put as many counters on that thing as you can. All right. Yeah. I'm not worried about my life total. They might Nethergoyf here. Thoughtseize is going to take Murderous Cut, which is catastrophic. Nothing I can do about it. And I'm going to probably just Bowmasters just to have a blocker here, which will inspire them to give flight to their Psychic Frog. I'm feeling really behind the 8 ball here, though. Okay, yeah. This card snowballs. Okay, so we have 2 options. One is to Bowmasters into potential Daze. The other is to just remove the land from them and stifle the draw trigger, slow them down a little bit. I kind of like doing that. I mean, they may not draw another land. Now the question is, do we let them draw a card off of this, or do we stifle it? Because if they have a land and if it's a fetch land and I'm not stifling that, I'm going to feel pretty dumb. I mean, this could be the last card they could start jumping it. They know I have Stifle. They're not going to play, knowing I have Stifle, they're not going to, they're not going to do that anyway. So I'm just going to let this hit me and then I'll Stifle the draw trigger just to like trade 1 for 1 and use my mana efficiently. If they Daze here, that's fine. Well, they won't be able to Daze. Okay. And they have Bobble, which they should use immediately. Yep. That's smart. Okay. They may be able to find a land after all, but I am going to be able to resolve Orcish Bowmasters around Daze. And that is what I shall do. Let's go ahead and do this. Blue, black. Do you have a 3rd Force of Will? Okay, good. So I'm just going to ping here and I'm going to attempt to block with a token and I'll start growing the army. I mean, I'm not feeling favored here just because they have so much forward momentum with this frog, but the fact that they don't have any land is hardening. They probably do play like 19 land, so they're more likely to draw land than not. If their land is a wasteland, that doesn't really help them. I've got plenty of unwastable mana sources. I think they probably exile and they probably attack just to draw and increase their likelihood of drawing a creature. That Thoughtseize was like perfectly timed. Next turn we have Island Ponder into potential Fatal Pushes. We still have 19 of those, or 3 of those in our deck. We also have a Brazen Borrower. And if they're not able to Daze the Brazen Borrower, that's pretty good. This will be the moment of truth as to whether they can find a land. If they find a land here, they're almost certainly going to fetch basic. And then that will shut off my my mana disruption for the rest of the game, more or less. Okay, they're putting some more +1/+1 counters on it. It's flying? Yeah, it's flying, so I have to take it. Okay. I will grow my Orc army, so we are kind of racing them, but only kind of. They're thinking about potentially discarding more cards to Psychic Frog to do more damage. I mean, it can't solo me. Okay. I'm going to ping them. Amass. Do they have a land? That's really, like, this game hinges on them finding a land. They found a land, but it's a wasteland. They should waste now because they can stifle later. But that's like not like a super duper strong play. I'm basically dead in 2 turns if they're willing to like discard their entire hand. Finding a Nile spell bomb wouldn't be bad because then I could wipe their graveyard and remove its ability to fly. It's fine. All right. A lot of bad draws. That's not one of them. That's pretty good. I'm going to ponder here. And I am going to desperately try to find a fatal push. We are so lucky. Okay, so this is great. I'm just going to push now. Especially knowing that I have days up. I'm not going to keep them in suspense. This fate, the fate of this frog. Yep, and now I think we win. I'm trying to think of how they could win here. When we have days, we have stifle, not this turn, but next turn. We do have a clock bearing down on them. We need to hit them like 3 more times and 3 more times if they fetch. Okay, there's their fetch. They should fetch now. Next turn, we're going to be able to get Tamiyo out. They may have a fatal push here, which I will daze in a heartbeat. They will be able to daze back now, though. They do have the daze back, so we've lost our Bowmasters. We do have a creature that's hitting for 2. Bowmasters was definitely strong there. It did its job well. I didn't think about this, but we do have Phyrexian Dreadnought on top of our deck. So even if they deal with Tamiyo, we will have like a really powerful creature coming. But like I would say our victory is far from assured. I'm going to play this out though, because any value I can get, I'm going to start putting it in the bank. And if they have another days to go with their, like if they have, they can replay their Underground Sea, fatal push on Tamiyo or maybe fatal push on my Orc army. And then if they have days up to stop my Phyrexian Dreadnought, that's going to be a 2-for-1. Okay, they got another land. They are down to 1 land and 2 unknowns, though. I'm going to attack first. I don't know what they could have that is 1 mana other than like a fatal push. Okay. The real question is, do we want to go for the Dreadnought or do we want to see what's on top? Because Dreadnought is good, but it's not like a lock. I'm trying to think of how they get out of this. Okay, so this is probably the most critical decision. Maybe we've already made the most critical decision. If they have another days, we're going to be pretty sad here. I'm going to go for it. My instincts are telling me go for it. Just put more threats on the table. They counter this. We still have Tamiyo. We still have the clues. We still have lethal over 3 turns with the Orc, 2 turns if they fetch. They're going to need a lot of action, but they could have like a Brazen Borrower in hand to potentially bounce this or to bounce Tamiyo or to bounce the Orc out of existence. Brazen Borrower would probably be the scariest card they could have here. Another Goyf could gum up the works if they can remove this Phyrexian Dreadnought. Okay, they're fetching, which probably means they have maybe a Brainstorm or maybe a Daze. Okay, surveilling. Let's see what they surveil. Flooded Strand in the graveyard, so they're not looking for land at this point because they have a land in their hand. They do have yet another Daze. Okay, so they blew us out. This Dreadnought dies. All right, they've got 3 cards in hand, 2 of which are lands. They're drawing an unknown card after having filtered. Our mana is unimpeachable. Okay, they're surveilling again. So we are going to get them down to 2 here. They kept the card on top, which is scary. Another Bowmasters kills them instantly. I'm going to go ahead and attack first. I will create a clue. I'm going to crack the clue now. They certainly could have. How many dazes have they used? Just 2? 3? They've used 3 of their 4 dazes. Let's go ahead and see what this is. If it's a Brainstorm, I may want to like... Brazen Borrower is good. Brazen Borrower is pressure. I'm going to play this out. And next turn, I'm going to potentially be able to bounce whatever it is they're going to block Orc Army with if they don't have a way to remove it. Okay. They now have the ability to like deploy a frog, to borrower us. They can do a lot of stuff. They could even have like double fatal push. That's fine. I can't do anything about that. All right. So I don't want to deploy the borrower yet. I'm going to attack, and then I'm going to brainstorm. And if I can find a Orcish Bowmasters or something like that, I can potentially jam it and put them in a bind. They don't have a lot of ways of dealing with a flip Tamiyo anyway. We can potentially put back dead stuff if we draw lands. I'm going to put back this Wasteland. I don't think it's good. I can put back Ponder. Yeah, I'm going to put back Ponder. Okay, so we're hanging on to the Brazen Borrower. We're plussing here. Now I'm going to immediately attempt to Bowmasters them. I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to get the island. There's no need for me to worry about lands later. Do you have days number 4? Okay, Bowmaster has resolved on pinging them. I don't think there's a series of draws that can get them out of this. I think we've won. We have a lot of optionality. They are pretty restricted in what they can do. They do have a land, so they could push, play a blocker, but we do have Brazen Borrower to bounce that blocker. Long goodbye on our Planeswalker. Thoughtseize just for no reason to kill themselves. Good games. Very well played, Piao. You and I have played before, and I have a lot of respect for you. You're like a really solid player. So I think, I feel very proud to have been able to beat you there. All right, let's go to round 4. We are 2-1. Having lost to Jeskai, but having beaten was it 2 tempo decks? Yeah, I think Epiphrine was okay. So we beat blue black tempo, and we beat StifleNought Mirror, but it's not really the mirror because they're playing the blue white version. All right, we're going straight into the next game against Falconry, whom I've played against before. We are on the draw. We have a combo hand. We have a lot of interaction. Let's see what they're likely on. All right, I have played against this player before. They don't have a lot of MTGO results. They were on Reanimator before, like a year ago. They may still be on it. If they're on it, this hand's not going to deal it. It's not going to get us there, I don't think. We don't, but this Fatal Push isn't that great anyway. If they have a slower hand, they're mulliganing to 6. I feel like we do need a mulligan to interaction. We've got so many options. Yeah, the Fatal Push is a dead card anyway. I'm going to mulligan. This is a no-lander. I'm not going to keep a no-lander. Not even on the draw against Reanimator. I don't think it's safe. They're starting with 6 cards. This is basically the same hand we had at the beginning, but if they're on Reanimator, we're not going to need this. I do like having a backup frog. I mean, just the way they mulligan and stuff, I'm getting combo vibes, and I'm thinking the Fatal Push isn't important. I could be wrong. We could be punished if they just turn one, play a Delver or something. Bird. Okay. So they are likely not on a combo deck because I haven't played against a combo deck that plays Birds of Paradise in a very long time. I should have bolted the bird probably. I'm going to ponder. So these are all pretty good if they're on a fair deck. We don't necessarily need this extra land. I'm going to put it down there. I'll take the Brainstorm first. Yeah, we'll see what they're on, but I'm thinking they're a Green Sun Zenith deck. Hopefully not a Nadu deck. I'm so sick of playing against Nadu. Okay, they are casting Bristly Bill, so they're on freaking Nadu. Great. All right, and they get the trigger. Yeah, I'll spare you. But if you've been watching my channel, you know how I feel about Nadu. I feel the same way that most modern players feel, and I feel like legacy players shouldn't have to endure it either. Okay, so we could... I think we need to find a Force of Will. They may have a Force of Will. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and brainstorm first. See if I can find a Force. I didn't find a Force. I'm going to put these back. And now I'm going to go get Underground Sea, and I'm just going to push Bristly Bill because Bristly Bill does combo. And I'm not as worried about the bird here. Next turn, I can start dropping frogs. Yeah, I think this is correct because now they don't have an enabler for their Nadu shenanigans if Nadu's in their hand. Okay, they may have a daze. Maybe like there's a card called Legolas Fast Reflexes that they could potentially have here. They might have a Surveil land. I'm not sure why they're fetching here. Okay, Surveil land, confirmed. They can put a +1/+1 counter on their Bird of Paradise, knowing that Bristly Bill is headed for the graveyard. Yeah, and that's what they're doing. All right, legit strategy, legit play. Their bird is now tougher and can potentially stand against my Psychic Frog. All right. Okay, this is a Green Sun Zenith for freaking Nadu. Yep. You've got a Nadu. They've got 2 cards in hand. They don't have any like combo enabler type things. Oh, Leovold. Yeah, Leovold's fine. I don't mind Leovold that much. But with Bristly Bill, I am very confident that they are playing Nadu here. Okay, so I think what we do is we just play this out, and we can't really do anything else. I'm just going to play out a Psychic Frog. We can't draw. We can't kill Leovold because we need to turn on Revolt somehow. Probably like a fetch or something. Do they still? Okay, Scavenging Ooze, not a big deal. I mean, it may be a big deal later, but it's not like super high on my list of pressing priorities. Number 1 priority, getting Leovold out of play. I think if we can do that, then we'll be able to gradually overcome Scavenging Ooze. Scavenging Ooze is kind of like power crept out of the format. Like if you look, all it can really become is a 3/3 because it can only exile creatures to gain life. So it could potentially be a 4/4 with Leovold jumping in the fray. They're too afraid to attack us. All right, I'm back. They are passing, which is great. So we're going to take another crack at finding something that can go to the graveyard. Dress Down does go to the graveyard. So we could Dress Down, and then we could, if we can find a fetch, then we could fetch, we could kill Leovold, and we wouldn't even trigger him. That would be pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try Dress Downing, see where this gets us. There is always the chance that we could just rip like a Phyrexian Dreadnought. They are hesitating, which is, they may have stepped away because I was gone for a minute. Brainstorming now, which is fine. Desperation Brainstorm when you have 1 card in hand. I'm not sure what they could be looking for. Maybe a Plow? I mean, Plow doesn't make sense here. It's like the Psychic Frog is not a big deal. All right, my kids keep coming in here. Okay, so Dress Down is resolving, it looks like. What are they doing here? They going to Veil? The terrifying thing about Nadu is, you can be so far ahead. You can, like, I've navigated like Nadu matchups into like just ridiculously favorable board presences and stuff, and they just somehow top deck Nadu, and the game just effectively ends. Like, and it doesn't matter, even if you have removal, they can do stuff at instant speed. So, yeah, super frustrating. Okay, they're just doing that. All right, we're gonna get the draw here. Is it a fetch? It's not a fetch, which means that we can't really do anything here. We can ponder. Okay, I'm gonna ponder, and I'm gonna hope. But even if I ponder and I find a fetch, then I can still kill Leovold. And I can draw a card here. Okay, this actually works. So we're going to go boom, boom. We will draw these bad stifles, but it's worth it to get Leovold off the table. Oh no, I don't have freaking black mana. I can do it next turn. My opponent is going to get a card for it when I do it, though. Yeah, I just have to chill. Yeah, that was probably bad. Like I was like so excited about turning on Revolt, I didn't think about the fact that we need the mana. Yeah, so they're still going to get a card from Leovold, and we're not going to be able to attack. Yeah, this is not great. Okay, we'll see what happens here. There are a lot of things they could do. They may be exiling cards from my graveyard because they think I use my graveyard, but I only use my graveyard for Psychic Frog. They do have Hardcast Force of Will mana up, but I can Stifle. So actually, if I Wasteland, I am going to give them a card. So, yeah, okay, let's read it. Whenever you or a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability, opponent controls, draw a card. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to Wasteland myself. That may seem like a terrible play. Like, what are you doing? That's how badly I need to get this card off the graveyard. Sacrifice targeting itself. Yes, I'm doing it. Okay. They're probably like, what? Why did you do that? Was that a misclick? No, it wasn't a misclick. I am going to attempt to fatal push you. And they might be wondering, why am I not drawing a card? And they don't realize that I actually just fatal pushed, or that I actually just did that to myself. So they could have force blue card. I can't do anything about that, but if it's a hard cast force, I can stifle that. They have Legolas quick reflexes. Nothing to be done about that card. I'm going to stifle this. Got another stifle coming off the top. Okay. This is the hard cast force. This is the daze. You are hellbent. You have lost your Leovold. And I can start attacking him with Psychic Frog. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack, and if they block, I can just discard and kill it. If they don't block, I can... okay, so I'm going to get a card. It's a Stifle. I can play a second Psychic Frog, though. That was a great turn for me. And yeah, I feel pretty favored here. But again, it does not matter if they just untap and they have Nadu and they have the freaking core guy. Like, the game's over, right? So I'm going to try to stay positive, and hopefully they won't just, play a Nadu. They have lots of cards that can exile to Scavenging Ooze now, but if they exile I don't have anything in my graveyard. So they have 2 cards, so they can make Scavenging Ooze a 4/4 if they'd like. They have a lot of land. It looks like one of the cards they drew over the last turn cycle was a land, so that's good. Because, they've got so much mana, it's just arbitrarily large volume on mana, unless they can, natural order for Atraxa or something like that. I don't think it's going to matter too much that they have a lot of land. They have 6 mana sources currently. So Stifle is not going to do any good against their mana base, but it might do something good against some other aspect of their deck. They can attack here. I'm not going to block. There's nothing to be gained from blocking here. I'll just take the 4, because I do think they're probably going to exile Leovold and Bristly Bill. Yep. Oh, they're just going to hit me for 3? They're not going to exile Bristly Bill? Okay, they are. All right. And now we can attack with both of these and draw 2 cards next turn. Life total is not a big deal for me. I've got lots of things that can bounce or remove Scavenging Ooze. Okay, they're going after my cards now, which is fine. I'm not going to blink and give flight to my Psychic Frog. It doesn't even really matter that much. This card's annoying, but it's not the end of the world because they already have tons of mana and I don't have a counterspell. All right. So I think we attack with everything and we see how they block. If they double block one, yeah, I'll just probably discard the Stifle and I will... Okay. Well, I'm going to discard Stifle here. And we'll kill this. If I discard Fatal Push, I get a permanent counter. I won't be able to kill this. I think it's worth it to keep my frog alive. And it'll be a sprightly frog at 2/2. Yeah, I think that was a bad block probably. I don't know what's in their hand, but like if they think they can solo me with Scavenging Ooze, they can make it a 6/6. Okay, what is this? Nadu? Freaking Nadu. All right, let's not panic. They don't have anything else going on, but they do have Nadu. Nadu can effectively block my creatures. So it is a 3/4 flyer. Okay, and we're going to take 6 here. We have lots of live draws. We can attack with both frogs, and we can discard to whichever one is blocked by Nadu, and then we can get a card that way. They have us dead on the backswing, though. So we're going to need to rip a good card from these. A Fatal Push could potentially do it. We've only used one Fatal Push. Brazen Borrower, I think we have one Brazen Borrower main deck, one on the side. Keeping these back doesn't achieve anything. Yeah, I'm going to attack with both. No guts, no glory. I think we lost this game a while back, and I'm just happy to be still playing it. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to discard here just to keep it alive, and we get one card. And it is a Ponder. Okay, that's good. Let's see what we can find. Another Psychic Frog keeps us alive for a turn cycle. Actually, that might be what we need. We might need to stay alive for a turn cycle with Psychic Frog, and then we draw into Phyrexian Dreadnought with Stifle. They can still kill us by... They're going to swing for... Yeah, okay, so let's do the math. All right. They attack for 9, right? We throw our Psychic Frog up in the air, and it... No, wait, we don't even have to. We just block the Scavenging Ooze. Okay, Scavenging Ooze is blocked. Now we draw for turn. We attack with both our Psychic Frogs, and we draw Phyrexian Dreadnought, Stifle, one other card. We have the mana to Stifle Phyrexian Dreadnought. Assuming they don't have like some sort of removal spell, we now have not a lethal threat, but we have a way to stand up to the Scavenging Ooze, and we can just jump these in the air to block Nadu. I think this works. Okay, so I'm going to go boom, boom, boom. Okay. And this will be the sacrificial Psychic Frog. Thank you for your services. But they could just draw something really powerful here. Brainstorm's a good draw. If they just get like a core, what is it called? Nomad Encore, then the game's over. And all our careful planning and thinking doesn't really help us. We are down 4 minutes on the clock, just because I like to think of my lines a whole lot. And because my kids. Let's not forget to blame the kids. All right, what card did they keep? Living Wish. Well, this is going to go get the Nomad Encore, and now we're going to freaking do the naughty thing. But I am going to F6 and let them do stuff. Yeah. Yep. Not terribly disappointing because this wasn't that close of a game. But I am going to F6 and make them do this a whole lot. And then when I finally do attack, I can just block with a Psychic Frog. Game's over, but I'm just trying to get some time off their clock, equalize the clocks a little bit. Yeah, the Living Wish version of this is even more frustrating because it's just like yet another way to get the combo. We're gonna have to deal with this through Eternal Weekend. I don't think Wizards is gonna ban it, and I'm not saying they should ban it for power level reasons. This isn't the most powerful deck, but it's an unfun card, just like Grief is unfun. You could argue that Grief, if they just banned like other cards in the Grief shell, like Entomb, then suddenly that's not like this old scam was reasonable. But the issue here is that it's unfun. And like to some extent, I've heard modern players say that the reason Modern sucks is because you do have answers in your deck, but you're just like, by the time like the game is navigated into a certain state, you're like 10% to win, but you still kind of have to hold on for that 10% if you want to be able to win over a long series of games. Like you want every percentage matters. So you end up spending a whole lot of time in what's called garbage time, where you're just kind of sitting around waiting to see what happens. So they're brainstorming yet again. Did they use all their triggers already? They got 6 cards in hand. Okay, I'm going to stop talking, and I'm just going to let you know once they've attacked me for lethal. Okay, we're back. You can see from their deck that they did quite a bit of unnecessary stuff. But that, like, Nadu kind of like encourages that behavior to just keep going, because, I mean, you never know, like, maybe Naduing a few extra cards will mean the difference if they have some card that you haven't thought of. I think since they have Mana Dorks, Bowmasters is going to be good here. They have a lot of non-basics. Harbinger could be good. I think I'm just going to bring in one Harbinger. Like, the double Harbinger is not going to get them, but maybe one of them will. The only other card I can think of being good here would be the second Brazen Borrower, but I'm not convinced it's that great. So what I think is bad probably is Well, wait, we're on the play. So, yeah, unfortunately, I have to keep my forces in against this deck that normally I would take all forces out against an aggro deck, but against Nadu, I don't think you can do that. I think we could probably take Borrower out. Like, I just don't think we're going to see a situation where Borrower matters in this matchup. It's going to be tempo negative. The only other cuts I can see us making, I don't want to cut the Nulldrifters. I think those are good because we want to have like both early game and late game. We can't cut really anything. And maybe we don't bring this in. I mean, if we pull these out, they are playing Plow. They're almost certainly playing. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take out the Dreadnoughts. I know they're the namesake of the deck, but they do often cause you to like just not be able to win, or like because you draw them when you're supposed to be drawing cards that win. We still got our stifles to stop their fetches and other triggers. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. Nulldrifter is gonna be really good late game, and we can cast Nulldrifter under a Harbinger. Actually, yeah, I think this is good. They do have ETB triggers that we can potentially stuff. I think this is good. I'm going to keep this, and I am going to open Underground Sea into Tamiyo and see if I can get their early interaction. All right. So they did mold to 6. I will bolt the bird this time just because I'm on the stifle plan. If they have a bird here, that is definitely going to get bolted. Bolt the bird basically just being a little expression for removing the mana producing creature. There's no reason not to go ahead and just play out this. I'm going to go ahead and push this, see what they do here. I could have definitely attacked first. Okay, and I'll just pass. Now we have Force of Will. We have Stifle up. I'd love to stifle a fetch here. And next turn we're going to get Psychic Frog joining the fray. And eventually we'll flip Tamiyo. That is going to be a stifle. And if they force back or do something, I'm not going to fight it. Okay, another bird. If this is... Okay, Green Sun Zenith for... Yeah, this is fine. This is going to be a 1/1 creature that'll die to Bowmasters if I can find a Bowmasters. All right, getting a lot of lands here. I do think it's better to play Psychic Frog here than it... Well, is it better? Because I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can flip a... if I can get a Brainstorm, that'd be good. I definitely wouldn't mind getting a Wasteland. Okay, now that we have that, I do think we can play out Psychic Frog next turn, but I'm not going to play it out now. Okay, Nadu. I'm going to attempt to force here. I think it's important to keep the... Yeah, and if they have a force back, that's fine. Okay, they don't. Good. All right. I don't think pushing makes sense here. Okay, I think I'm going to play this out, and I'm just going to go ahead and attack first. So we could flip her. I think it's better to play out Psychic Frog. And so heaven forbid Nadu does resolve. I can Fatal Push. It's not like something I want to do, but it's something I can do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and draw a card with the clue. And we're just happening to get our lands that don't fetch swamp. Otherwise, I would definitely get a basic swamp here in case I draw the Harbinger of the Seas. Got plenty of mana. Let's draw a card here. Next turn, we are going to be able to flip Tamiyo for sure. Okay, Stifle's great. Stifle can... Oh, Wasteland is great. Okay, my plan is to just waste them out of the game here. And if they want to push here, they can. Do they have an endurance? By all means, endurance me. Okay. That's fine. Okay, that's dead. Now we're going to push here. Yep. I was able to successfully bait it out. And now we're going to be able to flip Tamiyo. I'm getting some lag. I think they may have conceded. Yeah, good. Okay, so that was what we want to happen. We want to just bully their mana base and prevent them from doing anything meaningful. I think we're on the same plan. I don't think Borrower is particularly good. Borrower can't even target. It can't even target the creature. Now, their deck is probably playing 4 Living Wish, 4 Green Sun Zenith. So they have it's just like a turbo combo approach. And I don't think Borrower is helpful against that. Forced Negation might be worth bringing in just as a way to address that, but I don't like that. We're already going down cards enough. Dress Down. Oh, yeah, I think Dress Down can come out for this. I definitely think that's like a small optimization. Or Daze. Daze can come out. Yeah, we don't need that many Dazes. Because if they slip out of our grip, we don't want to be drawing Dazes. Grafdigger's Cage. This does stop Green Sun Zenith. I think it's worth bringing in. Okay. We still have a high blue count. We've got Harbinger. Got lots of ways of screwing them off the colors they need. I think we keep the Stifles in just because they enable Nulldrifter, even though we don't have the Phyrexian Dreadnought in. Okay, maybe we cut a Stifle and we bring in Force Negation because we're on the draw and we may need to just like counter some critical card. We'll see what happens. But I don't think we need all 4 Stifles considering we're just playing the 2 Nulldrifters. Again, I will complain about the fact that I have to keep my Force of Wills in a fair matchup. This is a mulligan, unfortunately. They've mulliganed as well. This is a keep. So, assuming we get a turn, I think we do Graph Digger's Cage just to shut off their ability to search their library. It only shuts off potentially 4 cards in their deck, but they're 4 important cards and they keep redrawing them because they keep getting shuffled in. So there's a higher likelihood that they will keep drawing them. I think the card that we put back here is sadly Dress Down because these Bowmasters are just so good against them. Yeah, I'm going to do that. So turn 1 is going to be Graph Digger's Cage. Unless they Green Sun right away. If they do, then I might just Tamiyo. Well, no, I kind of need to keep Tamiyo for force. Here they go. All right. So barn door, not closing time. If we draw a blue card, I will still deploy Tamiyo. But I'm not going to be naked against... okay, there we go. We can play Tamiyo now. I mean, it's certainly possible that they do have a second Green Suns, but it's less likely. I'm going to get my colors underneath me. I'm going to play with this engine, and I'm not going to do anything to defend her if they have plow or anything like that, but the only card I'm stopping is something that puts Nadu on the stack. And maybe a card that puts Leovold into play. If we don't draw a land, we can just play out a Graph Digger's Cage. If we do draw a land, we're going to Bowmaster, and I'll be very excited about that. Living Wish. I'm just going to counter whatever comes out of Living Wish. It is possible they have a Wasteland there. That would be the most heads-up play of all time if they knew to waste this. I'm going to let this resolve. They could absolutely get a Caracas and just bounce this. I'll be fine with that if that's the best I can do with our Living Wish. Yep, Caracas. That's fine. It's going to be pitched to a force. It's not the end of the world. I'm glad that they take Tamiyo seriously. They are going to be very sad to see this. We don't have to worry about back to basics. I don't think we have to worry about choke. I'm just going to get these and make sure that I've got all the colors I need. And we are not going to wait. We are going to go ahead and Bowmaster now. Reduce their mana, restrict their options. They don't have blue mana yet. All right. So unless we can somehow waste this out of play, we're almost certainly pitching Tamiyo. Okay, they do have blue mana now. They may be thinking, wait, if I wait a turn, I can defend it with the Caracas. All right. Can we stop it? Okay, we stopped it. Good. And normally I would advocate for holding Bowmaster, but I just want to kill my opponent. I don't think they're playing Daze or anything. I think this is totally fine. There is definitely a risk that they could untap Green Sun Zenith, and that would be totally preventable. That would be an unforced error on my part. But I feel like applying pressure is better. They're at 15. They're going to take 4 a turn. If they attempt a cantrip, they're going to take a ton. Leovold, I'm sorry. I don't like you. Not in this context. I like you when you're on my side of the table. All right. And Leovold would have been extra inconvenient with the Caracas out. I'm going to go ahead and attack here with everything. I'm just going to put my cards on the table. Am I? There's not really any benefit to playing out this. Well, yeah, I do have, what's her name in my deck? And I might need the land drop, Nulldrifter. Okay, this could be a removal spell. Grist is fine. Grist is not going to survive my attack here. Okay, you got a 1/1, but I'm still going to kill Grist unless you have something else to do. Okay. They do have one more card in hand. Bird. Okay. Right. I'm not going to fetch the Thin. I think that's almost never the correct thing to do. What I'm going to do instead, Because they have basic forest, basic island. They don't have basic swamp. They don't have basic plains. I think we attack all against Grist. This is going to force them to sack. We're still going to have Bowmaster, but the Grist is going to be at one loyalty, and they're going to have one. But next turn I'll have the Harbinger to attack for the last of it. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and attack all Grist. It's so weird. If you can see right now, it says attack be excellent. I'm not a Planeswalker on my opponent's side of the board. Thank you. Yeah. So we'll see how they block. I'm almost certain they're going to try to trade. If they block with a Birds of Paradise, I will be so elated because I'm about to cut them off mana. And I want to cut them off at least some of their colors. Okay. Grist is at 3 loyalty. Swamp Time. Harbinger. They do still have basics, but they don't have the removal color, and they're going to have a hard time getting it. Their Karakas is an island, so they have tons of islands. They can still cast Nadu if they rip him, and that would be a very impressive rip. Okay, Brainstorm to the yard. This time I'm just going to attack Grist with both of my 2/2 power creatures. And then next turn, after they'll probably block again, and then it's going to take a couple turns to clear Grist, but I think this is the way forward. Knocking off loyalty little by little. I do want my Bowmasters in play because it does make their cantrips a little less comfortable. I could stifle the trigger here just to be able to get through and definitely kill Grist. I think I'm going to do that. Okay, we're going to be able to kill Grist next turn, barring... I don't know what they could have. They could have Endurance, but they don't have double green. Dress Down is a great pickup. Okay, so I'm going to go to attacks. I'm going to attack there. Attack there. Attack my opponent for 2. If they have any sort of weird shenanigans, I do have a Dress Down. It's not the best, but yeah, I mean, this is pulling work, even with all their basics. They may have like a plow in hand. What is this? They're going to Nadu me. Living Wish. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about this, but if it's an ETB trigger, like a Solitude, I can stop that. See what they get. Thassa's Oracle. Okay, well, that technically that it does have an ability that allows them to look at their top cards. I think I can cantrip and I can also prevent that ability, because really what I'm doing is just trying to get some degree of tempo here. Any card that can remove this, and then I can attack them for all their life. Yeah, that's not a good card, unfortunately. But if I can find like a Psychic Frog or something. So this dies, and I'll feel pretty dumb if my next card is a Nulldrifter, but that's like a 2 in 43. Fatal Push. Okay. I'm just going to push. I'll keep this as an unknown in hand. And we're going to attack for 5. I do hope they have cantrips in hand, because we've effectively shut them off. They can no longer Brainstorm. We have lethal through 1 blocker. That's fine. So we're going to get a mass here. There are 2. I'm trying to think of what could save them now. I mean, they could still, in theory, go Plains. Okay, we won. Yeah, but I was thinking, like, we're never really safe because they could play Plains. They have 3 cards, and the other card could be like Nadu and Nomad Encore, and then they could just start flipping cards off the top, and they would have enough, because we have really puny attackers, like even this 3/3 army, you know? Yep. All right, let's go to the final round. We are 3-1, and I feel like we're playing pretty well. But if you have any feedback on my play, if you see any piloting errors, sequencing errors, anything where you're like, why did you do that? Or, oh, you forgot that you could do this, please let me know in the comments. It's so helpful for me. And my whole goal, as I always like to remind people, I'm not playing to win. I'm playing to get better. I have no illusions of myself being an insanely great legacy player. Yes, I occasionally win tournaments. Yes, I occasionally 5-0 on MTGO, which is a lot harder to do than it may sound. But I am trying to get to a place where I do that much more regularly and consistently without as much mental effort. Because as you can see, I'm like laboring over every decision. Is this right? Is this right? Constantly second guessing myself. And that's what you have to do earlier on. But hopefully I get better. And I would love to sit down. Like Bryant Cook of the Epic Storm talks about how he goes to a tournament and he makes like 5 or 6 decisions throughout the entire tournament. Because everything else is almost like autopilot because he's just played his deck so much. And I would like to get that, not with a specific deck, but with it, these control decks in general. The 4 Brainstorm, 4 Force of Will, plus some combination of fetches and duels and good creatures and good spells type decks. So yeah, I always appreciate your feedback. I appreciate liking. I appreciate really telling people, hey, there's this guy named Be Excellent who posts lots of control videos on YouTube. So tell your friends, and I hope you'll continue to watch these and learn from them. And I am very accessible on Twitter, on Discord, here on YouTube. Just if you have any ideas, any questions, just reach out to me. I would be thrilled to give you my feedback on anything you may have and hear any feedback you may have for me. All right, we're back for round 5, and I am sorry to say this, but I am playing against Nadu, likely against Nadu, or Breakfast, which would also have Nadu in it, for the 4th time in the last 48 hours or something. I mean, this is not a bad hand. If they don't have a basic heavy start, this can get somewhere. It does have a Force Blue card. I think I'm going to keep it. All right, let's hope that they don't go for basics. All right, they didn't go for basics. Do they have a halfling? Okay, this is fine. All right, let's see what I draw. There's a very high likelihood that I'm just going to wasteland, but if I draw a removal, I will push. I think we waste. Just want to cut them off colors and reduce their options. I'm almost certain they're playing the Bant Nadu deck because you wouldn't play this in a... okay, now they're going to get basic probably. They're going to get basic island. Okay, yeah. All right. I am resigned to slowly grinding against this deck and hopefully them not having a force when I do have a force. I'm just going to play this out. I'm not going to attempt to waste the Dryad Arbor. I never kill that with a wasteland. I don't think it's a good use of a wasteland because it is a creature that gets killed in... Oh, interesting. Please don't be playing Nadu. I would love it. Nothing more than for you to be playing a deck that is not Nadu, but unfortunately I think likely they are. But the presence of Icefang Coatl, which is a great card, one of my favorite cards of yore, back before the Lord of the Rings set and Bowmasters exploded on the scene. Yep, you're playing Nadu. I wish I didn't have to do this, but I am going to do it. Do I want to pitch Stifle or Brazen Borrower? I think I pitch Brazen Borrower, and I hope that we still have a shot at tempoing them with Wastelands. If they just force back, the game's over, unfortunately. They're thinking about forcing back. Okay, yeah. This is like the world's most deliberated force, but yeah, they did force, and now they have their combo on the table. They don't immediately have the ability to kill me with it, but yeah, they're going to go in for the chip. All I know is Orcish Bowmasters pulled some serious weight in the previous round, and I'm hoping that it does in this round too. I think I'm going to go ahead and ponder and try to find a Fatal Push. I think it's the only thing I can do that can prevent the apocalypse. Fatal Push or bust. We do have Phyrexian Dreadnought, but I don't think it's good enough here. I just now noticed that. I don't know how I didn't notice that earlier. I am going to shuffle this. One of the reasons I don't think it's good enough, if we don't get Fatal Push, I'll just waste them. Cutting them off white. That is their combo enabler color. They're going to be able to hit me for a lot, but next turn I will probably just drop the Phyrexian Dreadnought combo and see if they can deal with it. They have 3 cards in hand. Okay, Hedge Maze. Let's see what they put in the graveyard. If they don't put something in the graveyard, I'm going to be sad. Yeah, they kept it. It's probably White Source, or it's, what's it called? The Nomad's Encore. That's still not a Fatal Push. Yeah, I'm just going to go for it and hope that they don't have the ability to stop me. I don't think playing Psychic Frog out at this point is impactful enough. I can still race with Phyrexian Dreadnought. And if their last card is like Spell Pierce or something, then I'll be extremely sad. But yeah, I have to play to my outs. I played to my outs earlier in this match, or like earlier in this league, and in other leagues. There's a league of me just going all in on Psychic Frog versus Painter and like actually getting there. That was amazing. Okay, so now they do have Death Touch, which is very sad because, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Actually, they don't have Death Touch yet. But if they play another snow-covered land, then they do have Death Touch. These see each other, but they need to see one more. Okay, this represents snow-covered land. I don't think there's hope for our Phyrexian Dreadnought getting there if it's going to die. But they may not realize that it's going to die, and they may attack, and then I may be able to get an attack in with Phyrexian Dreadnought, and then they're like, oh, wait, this has Death Touch. I could just hold it back. They may try to surprise me, but I'm not going to fall for it. What I'll do is, I mean, it may be worth hitting them anyway. Let's see if they attack with everything. They're keeping one back, which means they realize here. So I really need a Fatal Push, and it's crazy to me that I'm going to be Fatal Pushing an Ice Fang Coatl instead of a Nadu, but I do think that that's the play here. Okay, I'm not sure why they're fetching now. Maybe just to see if I stifle during their upkeep. Yep, that does represent both Plow and this gives it the Death Touch. All right, so I'm going to just play this out. If I attack and they block, they do drop pretty low. I might be able to get them with frogs. And they lose their Death Touch on this. I think I just have to walk into it. Yeah, it sucks, but you know, knocking 11 life off, knocking them down to 5, and getting rid of it is worth it. All right, and now I'm just gonna go blue, black. I'm not sure. Did I play that? Did I play this fetch out this turn? If so, that was a mistake. I should have held it back to pitch. Yeah, and now if they hold this back, they can attack me, but okay, that's fine. I'll just let it happen. I'm not dead yet. I'm going to take 4, maybe 5 this turn. So I'll be dead the following turn, but I will have another Psychic Frog. Okay, they've got something big here. Green Sun Zenith. They're probably going to get Bristly Bill. Maybe like Leovold or something. I'm trying to think of what they would get that would cost 3 mana instead of just 2. Okay, Uro. That gains them some life. That gives them a longer game. Okay. Right. I am going to just not crack this because if I find a Brainstorm, that might be good. If I remove this, we still have to deal with Uro. This isn't good. I'm just going to go blue, black, play that Psychic Frog. Psychic Frog can jump, can become a 3/4, can stop Nadu. But we're not going to be able to beat Uro escaping over and over. Sadly, we might be able to, but I don't think we will be able to. I do think we have a good sideboard plan that we executed last match. Yeah, they got everything here. I wouldn't be surprised if they find the card, and if they do, I'm just gonna have 6 and let them waste a bunch of clock. Okay, here I'm gonna just jump my frog. 1, 2, 3. They have the ability to get another discard this. Doesn't really matter. I'm sure they have a plow or something. They just brainstormed. I should technically do this after I block, but there's no hope for the future if I'm not able to successfully block here. Okay, so they bounce off each other. We take 1. Next turn, I can potentially attack with Psychic Frog. They don't have the mana to be able to bring back Uro. That's good. I think I'm gonna. So we give it flight. We attack. We get to draw a card. We'll do 4 damage here. I am gonna exile 3 cards, and I'm gonna go for this. There's no point in waiting around. It's not gonna get us anywhere. All right, and if I discard this card, which is totally worthless, then I do reduce the likelihood of finding a. I mean, they can bring Uro back next turn. I don't know why they didn't do it this turn. Did they think that I wasn't going to block there? Well, I mean, this is a totally dead card. If I brainstorm into something, I brainstorm into something, but I'll just put a little extra damage on them, put them dead on board. They're not really dead on board by virtue of having Uro. Okay, we had our card. It is probably not anything impactful. It's another Psychic Frog. Okay, well, it's coming out. And this can jump. This can jump up and it can jump a Nadu. And then our other Psychic Frog can potentially kill. That's fine if you want to use another Brainstorm that your deck has given you. Yeah, I mean, like, we have one cantrip though. Let's see, we may have had more. No, we just have one this game. All right, they're forcing, or they're fetching here. Interesting. Okay, they're surveilling. They do still have Uro colors. They might hold this back. This is never going to get cracked again. This should have not been played out. That was a misplay on my part. If they don't attack for lethal, I'm not going to throw my frog in front of Nadu. They can bring back Uro here. That's going to give them enough life to survive. I'm just going to wait. There's nothing I can do here. Just, this is what the average Modern player feels when they're playing against. This is what I hear from Modern players all the time. Like, yeah, you're just sitting there waiting to see if you're dead. Okay, so they're up to 6 and they're out of range. If they don't attack for some reason, okay, yeah, Delighted Halfling, plenty of power on the table. I'm just waiting to see if they can kill me. I mean, they can't kill me, but like, do they go for the kill? They can't kill me this turn, so I can stall and get a little clock. We're about even on time. I'll take any advantage I can get because I would like to get a 4-1 instead of a 3-2. Wow, they didn't attack. Okay, interesting. All right, so if I can find a Brainstorm, there are lots of things I can find here. Does Dress Down do it? Dress Down doesn't do it. They do have enough. Yeah, unfortunately, Dress Down doesn't do it. I could Dress Down to remove abilities. I think I do this during their turn, and then when they attack in, I can potentially get some combat tricks, but I am going to have to block Uro. They are going to get the draw trigger and gain life trigger. Yeah. Okay, so let's say we Dress Down now. We could draw into a Phyrexian Dreadnought, and we could have the blockers. No, because they have a flyer. I'm going to try this. I want to see what this gets. I don't think this is going to matter, but we don't have any prayer here. We're going to have to crack this for mana too. Force doesn't do it. I'm just going to pass. Let them burn up some clock. But yeah, that was our shot right there. I mean, if they just turn everything sideways, they win because they can get 1, 2. Yeah, I can only absorb so much. Okay. Well, I'm just going to block with one of the lesser of the 2 frogs. They went up a card. Nulldrifter is good, but it's not good enough to save us here. Okay, so hear me out. We Nulldrifter. And we could Nulldrifter into both land and stifle. It's unlikely, but no, we didn't. Okay. Let's pass. I'm just going to go to another... let them decide whether they're ready to kill me now or whether they want to keep tiptoeing around me. Another Ice Fang. I used to be a control player who like would just accrue value and just like get overwhelming advantage and then finally swing in. And I've gone to time a lot of times due to that. So this should be lethal either way. I'm just waiting for them to do everything they want to do. Okay, that's fine. I'm dead. All right. So the clocks at the end of all that are even, basically. I do believe we're more favored post-board. We didn't see the... I mean, we could bring in now Spellbomb. Grafdigger's Cage is extra good because of Uro here. I do think we bring that in. And then I think we bring in our removal. They did have a lot of basics. I'm not sure that Harbinger of the Sea is going to get them because they have the ability to fetch basics. I think we probably keep in our... I mean, they're probably going to board in Prismatic Endings, but something tells me that we need to be proactive here. They probably have the ability to get Tamiyo or to get Caracas, maybe with Living Wish. I think Borrower's really bad here. It's just not a good card in the matchup. Almost everything they cast has like some sort of ETB trigger, or is just easily recast. Yeah, I think that Harbinger was like a one-time thing that we got lucky and they didn't have a white source. Because we have to play it when they don't have a fetch to go get a white source, and they've been very diligent about fetching, and they're heavily incentivized to fetch basics. We could take out some forces, but I don't like that because Nadu's just such a backbreaking card. I think Nulldrifter is really good against their deck. I'm really torn. At the same time, I feel like Daze is going to be really bad. My reasoning is they have the ability to potentially carpet, and carpet just like negates the value of Daze so much. I don't want to take them all out. There's diminishing returns to taking them out, but maybe I do want to take them out. They don't help the combo. Yeah, I think I talked myself into it. And I can't cut lands because I'm playing 18 lands. I can't go any lower on lands. I would normally do that. Yeah, I'm going to do this. And I'm just going to hope that we don't have to counter a lot of stuff. I know that's like super extreme considering we're on the play, and Daze is a really good like on the play card. But something about this player and how careful they are, I just think they're likely to play around Daze. So if we open Wasteland Grafdigger's Cage, that could strand some cards in their hand. They may have some non-basics that they can't. I mean, this is an extreme keep. I think we do it. I don't want to go down on cards. We don't really need to cast anything in our hand right now anyway. Main thing is just denying mana and trying to gradually draw into land. Maybe this is a bad keep. I haven't kept a hand like this in a long time, but something tells me against this opponent I just need to shut off their Green Sun Zenith. They did mold a 6, which is good. We'll see if they kept non-basics or if they kept basics. Okay, they can go fetch basic, and they most certainly will. But how many basics? The real question, I think this is a force. I don't think there's any... I'm not going to overthink it. I think we force pitching Stifle, and we hope to get Tamiyo going. The main reason is that not only negates our force, but it also ramps them. Land. Holy cow. So lucky. It's not the color we need, but it is a land. I'm going to take it. I'm not going to complain. It'll eventually be good. Bowmaster is definitely the best draw off the top, I think. Okay, yeah, another basic, but no island. They may be holding like a underground or like a tundra or a tropical island, knowing that it's like a one shot, and then we're not going to let it stay on the board. Prismatic Ending, this is bad. We can't stop this. We can't punish it. So they've just unlocked a lot of their deck. Okay. There's no reason not to play this out. Yeah, because, I mean, it might eventually matter that we like Nulldrifter and we wish we had it. I mean, Nulldrifter can be cast for 7 mana, which we do have 7 fetchables / wasteland. They're going to go get the basic island. Yeah. So our mana denial did not work this game. Yeah, they've got Nadu. Yeah, this was a bad keep, I think. I think if we'd kept like disciplined, been more disciplined about mulliganing, yeah, this game's over. Because they have so many paths to comboing. They can probably Green Sun Zenith for Bristly Bill and go off that way. Even if they don't, they're hitting us for 3 each turn. Because Nadu, in addition to being like a extremely broken combo piece, is like yeah, this is over. All right. Well, I'm sorry the league had to end that way. It's kind of a disappointing end to the league, and I do chalk it up to my own greed as far as keeping that hand that didn't have any mana sources. I was just thinking like, okay, if they don't have basics, which they had plenty, then I can punish them. And yeah, but that is what it is. It sucks getting paired against Nadu twice. I don't think it makes for a particularly interesting gameplay. But we did get a 3-2, or a 3-2 record. I'm going to show the deck again just to give some context as to like how we were playing it. So my mini decks here, UW Stiflenought. So we have 4 Psychic Frogs. So just the threat suite real quick. I like to group by threat, interaction, and cantrips. So not a lot of removal in this deck, but the goal is to actually like just kill them. It's supposed to be an aggressive deck, and you're not supposed to take a controlling stance. And then we got these two Nulldrifters over here. So we'll bring them over into the fold. We're going to get a big, nice family photo here. These go over here. So yeah, this is the list. I don't think there are any changes I want to make. I don't think the second Harbinger of the Seas is necessary. We don't really have a way to get her. But, I mean, getting to that, it's like with Death Shadow. Death Shadow never plays like 2/3 drops. They wouldn't be caught dead playing 2/3 drops. And the reason for that is they have so few lands. We have so few lands, and we're using our lands to waste them and stuff. Like I don't think we're going to get to getting 2 of these out very often. And I almost feel like a better choice would be playing a third Consign to Memory. Here's why. Consign to Memory doubles as a way to stop the evoke trigger killing Nulldrifter or Phyrexian Dreadnought. So it's like doubly good. Another option, of course, that would have been really good against that matchup we were just in is a card that I would have to go buy, but it's called what is it called? Something like it stops. I'll just tell you what it does. So whenever a creature comes into play, it stops the trigger, like the ETB trigger on it. So not only does that stop Uro from benefiting, I mean, technically they can just play the Uro and they immediately get it. It doesn't die from the evoke, or it doesn't have to be escaped. But I'm not sure why I'm forgetting the name of this card. I've played this card so much over the years. Torpor Orb. That's it. Torpor Orb. So if we get a Torpor Orb, we could definitely put that in the side. I think Grafdigger's Cage is pretty marginal. I don't think it's a great card. And you know, like Rescam can just bounce it out of play, and then they can do their graveyard shenanigans. It's not like Nulldrifter Bomb where you can like react. They can just remove it, and then suddenly they can do stuff. And we saw that. They Prismatic Ending my Grafdigger's Cage, and I got 0 value out of it. It never did a damn thing. All it did was trade 1 for 1 mana for 1 mana with the Prismatic Ending, right? So I do think that it's harder to justify having Grafdigger's Cage when you could have that card. But at the same time, then we don't have a lot of graveyard hate. We basically just have, like, I think we probably go up to 2 now Spell Bombs first. But at the same time, there's something to be said for having a variety of different, graveyard strategies. I'm not sure if there's a good card against Nadu, like other than just having more removal on the sideboard. It could be that having a second Murderous Cut is worth doing. But the problem with Nadu is by the time you're removing it, you're already 2 for 1ing yourself. You really have to stop it on the stack. Yeah, I don't know what to do. We're not playing red, otherwise Pyroblast. Pyroblast, by the way, is an incredible card right now, and everybody should be playing it. I think it's so good. So hopefully, if you're going out there and you're trying to beat some Nadu decks, you're packing red. But for this deck, which I don't think should pack red, I don't know that Brazen Borrower is correct. It felt really slow. And yes, it does technically remove any permanent, but like almost all the things in Legacy right now either have an ETB or they're just like so cheap that you can just recast them. Like I would feel terrible Brazen Borrowing another Goyf, even if I'm doing like a combat trick, because I just spent 2 mana and potentially got dazed. So I probably had a 3rd mana just waiting to potentially pay for daze just to be able to remove another Goyf from play for 1 turn, right? I mean, this does technically hit a like flip Tamiyo. It just doesn't seem great. With this deck, the curve is so aggressive. I mean, you really are playing 1-drops. Paying 2 mana for a Brazen Borrower does feel like a lot. And yet, I don't think there are other cards that would immediately come to mind to replace this. Let me see if I can. Yeah, here. This is the deck. I'm playing almost the exact 75 that Michael Reed was playing here. Eureka 2422. Frequent opponent here on the channel that I play against in leagues. And he is playing, he's playing 19 lands. He's playing the Under City Sewers, which I didn't really miss. Like, so the theory on playing these Surveil lands is if you're playing like a pure tempo deck like Delver doesn't play these, right? And the reason is it's like it's such a tempo loss if this is the only land in your opening hand and you're not able to deploy a turn 1 threat, right? I feel like adding another Tamiyo might actually be the right call, playing 4 Tamiyo, because it is a lightning rod for removal and it's something you can do early to start immediately applying pressure. So what I would probably do is take out the Brazen Borrower and put in Tamiyo number 4. And the only difference is he's playing 19 lands and he's playing this. What I did was I took out one of the Underground Seas and I took this out, and I'm playing 2 islands so that I can go even deeper on basics if I need to, because there's really no reason to, like, if you've got a swamp, there's never a benefit to getting a second black source, because you're just not going to need it generally if you're double spelling. The other thing is Orcish Bowmasters is such a good pivot from playing Phyrexian Dreadnought. Phyrexian Dreadnought is really terrible against white decks. And I feel like we just got really lucky round 1 when we were able to beat the blue-white Phyrexian Dreadnought deck, StifleNought deck, at its own game. That was not what you should expect. You should not expect for that to happen. I think 9 times out of 10, they're heavily favored. We do have Fatal Push, which does kill this just as well, but they also have Prismatic Endings. So I think what I want to do is probably go up to 4 Bowmasters in the sideboard. Okay. And then go up to 4 Tamiyo. So here, we're going to do some live brewing, and I'm going to record another league with this. So I would go up to 4 Tamiyo here. And I would take out this Brazen Borrower from the main. I'm not sure if I would probably just go down to 1. And then I'm going to add a Bowmaster, because currently the meta is all about creatures, right? And like everything you need to stop or remove is like a creature. Orcish Bowmasters is great because it's a creature that also potentially removes creatures, as we would have loved to have drawn one of our Bowmasters against, for example, that flying Quaddle. What is that card? Icefang Quaddle. Yeah. Like that just, or against Baleful Strix, which a lot of people are playing now. It's really good against like somebody hard casting a Brazen Borrower. It's really good against Tamiyo. Like a lot of times people brainstorm to try to like flip their Tamiyo, and you can flash this in. And if it's their turn and they're the active player, their abilities go on the stack first, which means your Bowmaster pings resolve before the Tamiyo. So by the time it's time for Tamiyo to flip to resolve, she's dead. Right. So, like very powerful interaction there. So I think the weakest card here is probably Grafdigger's Cage. If I were to take this out and replace it with another Nile Spellbomb, I think it's better. Nile Spellbomb is just incidentally a good card you can board in against like Delver and stuff. I Consign to Memory, for the reasons I said earlier, it's really good against combo. It's really good against Eldrazi. It's really good against 12 posts, which are decks that we shouldn't necessarily struggle to beat. Yeah, but this is where I'm going to leave it. This is what I would play. Oh wait, I've got one too many cards. I'm going to actually need to cut something here. What would I cut? Like this, Null Rod didn't come in any of the matches, and I feel like Consign to Memory kind of covers it for artifact matchups. So yeah, sorry. And also it kind of like trips over our Now Spell one. Not that we're likely to encounter that. And then maybe, just maybe, adding a whatever it's called, like the card I struggled to remember earlier, Torpor Orb. But I don't really think there's room for Torpor Orb. The theory on why to play white is because you get access to this card, Doorkeeper Thrall. And by the way, everybody's playing white. Like nobody's playing blue-black like I am. This is like pretty uncommon. And did I misspell it? Maybe it's like Door Spacekeeper. I'm in the other product section. That's why. Door. I'll just type Door, and I'll show you the exact text on it. But it's a strong card. It's basically a Torpor Orb on a stick. And I should have one. Whenever MTGO decides to load. Okay, here it goes. Doorkeeper Thrall. So I'll just bring it in here and we'll show it. So artifacts and creatures entering don't cause abilities to trigger. So in terms of artifacts, there might be some artifacts that have like some trigger when they enter. That's not really important in Legacy. What is important is the creature clause. But with 4 dress downs, which are better because they pitch the force and they potentially like wipe out like, like heaven forbid the poor person that has to play against me with like, Painter or what would another nightmare matchup to go against this deck be? Probably like Mono Black Storm they would have a very rough time against this deck. Like any like dedicated artifact deck. I feel like we're already so favored against dedicated artifact decks between the Consigned to Memory and the Forces and the Dazes, and like the fact that we can kill them very quickly with Phyrexian Dreadnought, that we don't really need to have No Rod. So yeah, I don't think Torpor Orb is necessary. I think we have enough. So I will be playing this list, and I hope you'll tune in and watch the next adventure. Until next time, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.